Hello and welcome to the first and maybe only episode of TONEKENT, the only off-brand content.
You mean the better content?
Off-brand is often better, yes.
Hopefully we live up to such low bar expectations.
Hopefully. My name is Keyblade Spirit,
And
this
I'm
is my
Lumia.
co-host.
Lumia, please kill me.
I won't do that.
Oh. Very well.
Today we're talking about the first half of the spring 2020 anime season.
What a strange bag of shows, honestly.
Yeah, it's been something.
There's a lot more card game-based shows than I was expecting.
Yeah, it's
I really gotta
weird.
say.
It was just the two, right?
Was it only 2? No, it was like 3, right?
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
I
there's
remember.
also Bakugan.
Yeah.
But we both dropped that.
Well, Bakugan was... We'll get to Bakugan when we get to Bakugan.
Yeah.
We're getting out of order already.
Yeah.
So where do we want to start?
Yeah. Well, one last thing, I might edit this back in later, or backwards later. We're doing this entirely because the content channel has been on a long hiatus, and we're sick of it. So we're going to try to usurp their empire. That's the framing story of this whole thing.
We wouldn't call ourselves content fans. We're bored people who like watching anime.
Yes.
So let's take a look at this.
Yeah,
I don't even know if this is a good season or not anymore.
Yeah, there were more shows that I was surprised at liking.
I agree.
Than there were shows that I was surprised at disliking.
I liked more than I was expecting, and there was a lot of shows that did surprise me. Not with the first show, though, that I'm looking at on my list, according to the order we're going by.
Yep. Although the first show we're going to be talking about is The Eighth Son. Are you kidding me?
Eighth Son. It's just a really boring isekai.
Yes.
Like, it's every sin of isekai just brought up. It's slow. All the designs are generic and boring. There's no life in this show. Like, it takes 10 minutes to get to the premise of it, and that's way too long.
Yeah, and even without that 10 minutes, it starts in media res, and I don't understand why.
Yeah. Just
my second note on it is characters are designed.
My first note was me screaming in boredom. Actually, that's all my notes. I don't think I finished this show. I saw this show 2 days ago, and I can barely remember what I saw. I think it's the only show I can't remember. All I remember is the guy kills himself from a rice cooker because we needed a unique way for him to die, but it wasn't even funny.
Yeah, I don't know if it was supposed to be funny. I don't even think he killed himself. I think he just fell asleep and woke up. So I don't even know if he actually died in the real world.
I thought we were just supposed to assume that the rice cooker burnt down his house.
Maybe?
And
I don't know. That seems likely. But speaking of burning, this show is clearly trying to be a slow burn, but there's not enough to it. So it still goes real fast.
This show is stalling for time so long. It just constantly keeps staying on scenes to let them take as long as possible. Like when he's discovering that he's like not the third son until, you know, the joke eventually comes that he's the eighth son. That takes like what, 15, like it takes like, it's like a good 2-minute sequence.
Yeah.
And I
see, I can kind of imagine a better way that this goes, where it's revealed that, where at the end of the first episode we find out that we're meant to assume that he's the first son, not the first son, the third son. And then from there, in the second episode, we meet all of the other brothers. But there's not enough idea in it to do anything to extend that meaningfully.
Mm-hmm. And I know it's the first episode, but I felt like all the brothers that I met were pretty generic and boring.
Yeah.
And to go to a random other show, just because it reminds me of it in some sense, have you ever seen Sister Princess?
I haven't. I don't think I've even heard of it.
It's not great. Don't worry about it. But Sister Princess' gimmick is that it's about this guy who goes to live with his other sisters, and he's got like 15 other sisters. And the way they make that show work, in theory, is that each sister has a weird, dumb quirk, which is the obvious way you do something like that. And I just felt like all these brothers did not have anything going for them to make them memorable in the slightest, which I'm not sure is the point or not.
Yeah. I'm not sure either. And they also seem to all leave at the end. So they seem to just be gone.
Oh, well.
So we're not even getting character interactions.
Lovely. I mean, we know he becomes like some sort of like legendary mage after, and he's got like the 4 hot sisters.
Yeah, I think it's just like the first son and him now who are still living in that house.
Oh. Huh. This is the show I have like the least memory of, honestly. This is probably my least favorite show of the entire season.
That's good to hear.
That means every show after this was uphill for me, which is good.
Yeah, and it's clearly trying to come off of Ascendance of a Bookworm success, because the premises are basically identical.
I'm just going to assume he uses his office worker, his office worker knowledge to save the day at some point in the show.
Yeah. The beginning scene makes it seem like that, or like makes it seem like his middle manager knowledge is going to be his cheat ability, like every isekai does. But actually, he's got really strong magic. He finds a book that teaches him how to test how strong his magic is. He does that. Turns out it's really strong. So strong that it catches the attention of some random wizard guy who happens to be traveling. And then he is sent out into the forest to gather wood, where he meets this wizard. And and the wizard just teaches him how to use magic. Not like beginning steps. Like one spell that's not even that interesting.
Well, you gotta learn the useless level 1 spells before you can learn the cool level 3 or 4 spells.
Yeah, and it's done to fight off an attacking boar. So good on them for hurting a boar, I guess. But introducing the wizard guy at the end, it felt like it's something that should have happened in episode 6 of a better show and with the same tone that this one is going for. Because that's almost how it goes in Bookworm, where she hasn't figured out how to make paper until like halfway through the first season.
Oh, that's really cool. I need to see Bookworm.
Yeah, it was the biggest surprise for me.
I'll have to get around to that at some point. Yeah, Bookworm just sounds better than this, honestly. Oh,
Yeah.
that's all I really have to say about Eighth Son. Honestly, I dropped the show halfway through the episode, I think.
Okay. I don't blame you at all.
Mm-hmm.
So next we're going to Arte. Or Arte. That's
Art.
what it says in the katakana pronunciation, so I'm going from that.
Arte? Arte.
Yeah.
I really liked Arte. I really liked it. With the premise being about this, it's Middle Ages, or not Middle Ages, it's the Renaissance era, and this noble girl wants to become an artist. And God, do they express her so well in that first shot where you see her just drawing this bird. It just immediately, instills her entire character of being, she loves drawing, she's passionate about it, and she doesn't care what it takes, because you see her, being messy in the morning where her maids are disgusted by her being in this position so early in the morning.
Yeah, she just doesn't give a fuck about what's gonna... if somebody sees her. I like that opening as well.
It's one of my favorite things of the entire show so far, of the entire episode, because just so perfectly expresses everything that the show's about. And, this show sets up the entire theme of, like, working hard to make your art, to get by and, feed yourself based off your art. Which is so far the theme of the first episode and the theme of the show, I think. And it's just, it does it so well through so many scenes of, like, with the mentor and how much she struggles just to find an art teacher.
Yeah.
If I have one issue is that she's just a little too upbeat about everything. Which is fine. I like it. She's definitely a likable main character.
Yeah. One thing I immediately noticed, like after a couple of scenes, was that this show seems animated and drawn to look like isekai. But it takes place in the real world and is a historical drama.
Yes.
So, I don't know what they're going for with that. Maybe it's just that it's a very popular art style right now. But I like it.
Maybe they're hoping it'll draw in the isekai normies who only watch isekais. That's
possible. But I also just like the idea that Florence is Isekai Town. That's funny.
I mean, it does look like an isekai town. It really does. God. Oh, and when she goes to bed on the roof at the end of the episode and she can just see the beauty of her world even though she hates her room. God.
Yeah.
I love how passionate she is for art. She's consistently deals with every issue by drawing because she knows it's the only way she can express herself.
Yeah.
This girl's a new type. She's a hardcore new type.
Absolutely. And it seems like... I like this hook that she's a formerly rich girl giving up her lifestyle to pursue distinctly not rich dreams. And I also like that it goes with the... Or it establishes the historically correct version of this, which is artists are not rich. They just do this. And they do it generally in the service of the nobles.
Yeah, the opening really made that clear that she's probably going to be doing some, as she works her way up to become respected in a field that is run by only men. That is going to be very interesting to see how she deals with that in the future, because that seems to be another theme of the show.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah. I wonder how long it's going to take for Leo to be revealed to be Leonardo da Vinci.
Okay, is it just me, or did our guy's mentor, whoever he was, I forget the guy's name, do you think he was trained by Leonardo, or is that me just reading way too deep into that?
I don't know.
Okay.
But
that's my guess.
Yeah. I'll say if you know who Leonardo da Vinci is, it seems pretty clear that Leo is supposed to be Da Vinci.
That's why I was thinking that, but I wasn't 100% sure because I don't know if we got a year, and I don't know what years Leonardo was active.
Yeah, neither do I. It just seems likely. And also, historically, there are stories and diary entries and letters and stuff that suggest that Leonardo was he had some relationship with an assistant of his.
Oh.
And that assistant was described as a young effeminate man or a young effeminate boy.
I have heard the rumors that many great Renaissance artists were gay. Like, I think Raphael was gay? I'm not sure. I've not done the research.
I haven't heard about any of the others except for Leonardo da Vinci. I just know it could be setting it up so that our main character girl here is, or ends up being, that young effeminate boy.
Oh,
and it turned out he was effeminate because he wasn't a boy at all.
That does remind me of another one of my favorite scenes was when she discards her womanhood to become an artist in front of like one of the artists by cutting off her hair, and then just about to go cut off her own breast until her mentor shows up. What a savage! What an absolute savage legend. This is by far my favorite show of the season so far. That probably doesn't surprise you.
Yeah, definitely legendary. I liked that scene as well.
I'm sold on watching more of the show. After this, I'm so excited to continue. I'm probably just going to wait till the season's over, though, just to watch all of it in one sitting.
Yeah, definitely. My idea of a binge is I watch 2 to 3 episodes a day until I'm done. So
I generally watch like 6 to 8. In my freshman year of college, so like 4 years ago, I would watch like 12 episodes a night somehow. I don't know how I did it.
Wow.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever done that was with No Game No Life. And then I got a Crunchyroll subscription to watch the latest episode.
Oof. Supporting Crunchyroll. Very bad. Yeah. Very gay.
I was young.
Well, that's fair enough. We all have to accept the sins of our past of being a Crunchyroll supporter. Unless Crunchyroll supports this show.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they will.
I think it just ruined our chance of getting getting Crunchyroll in this show.
Well, you never know.
That's
you never
true.
know.
That's true. God, I loved Arte. What a great show.
Yep.
But anything else you have to say?
I don't really have anything else left to say, except it seems like it's probably going to end up being sort of an Iyashike tone show with light drama elements.
That seems how it's going to feel. I feel like it's a 12-episode show. I don't see it going on longer than 12 episodes.
Yeah.
From my feeling about it. How it's going.
Apparently the manga is still ongoing.
Really? I might have to read that.
Yeah.
The art on a live chart looks like it's from the manga because it looks, it has that manga aesthetic.
Right.
So, I might check that out because I actually really like that art style.
That's good.
Yeah. What's next? Yep. Oh, Digimon.
Yep. Digimon Adventure 2020.
This was my first Digimon show. I'm not sure if it was for you.
I
know nothing about Digimon before I went to this.
I saw like a couple episodes of the original Digimon Adventure just on TV in my grandma's house when I was a kid.
Okay. This had a cool opening, though it reminded me of Naruto at times.
Yeah.
Well, actually,
I liked it a lot.
Oh, yeah. It just had that shonen vibe in a really cool sense.
Yeah. My first note on this is I've never been into Digimon, but this is really nostalgic.
The music really sells as a nostalgic thing, but it also just had a good soundtrack in general. A really nice orchestrated soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like I was like loving the soundtrack the entire time, and I normally don't take note of soundtracks just because I just don't notice music that often. This was one of the few shows I've actually just noticed how good the OST was.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say much about this because it's kind of straightforward kid shonen where, you know, I mean, it's weird with the sense that he goes inside of his phone to fight literal viruses, which is inherently funny and cool.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, I thought it was cool. I just don't know why his I forget his dinosaur knew his name already, and I want to know why he was like believed in him so hard immediately off the bat. I'm sure there's lore, and I'm sure I'm just dumb for not knowing the lore.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's more too. Given this is a reboot, I'm sure it'll be explained somehow.
I'm sure. It was a good first episode.
Yeah, the little sister, Hikari, she also seemed to have a Digimon with her. That's interesting.
I think based off the... Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with all the character designs because I've seen them a million times just through other people on YouTube who are fans. So, she looks familiar, so I think she gets one. I'm not sure. Probably.
Yeah. Well, no, I was pretty sure that she already had it in this episode.
Oh, already had it? Oh. That's interesting.
I might have been misreading it somehow, but it was shown, like, with her at some point.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. I'm interested
cool.
to continue this. I might just go ahead and watch the original Digimon Adventure.
That sounds good, honestly. I did find that at the end of the first episode where it's like, oh god, the viruses are going to attack the United States and they're going to fire their nukes and destroy the world. I thought that was a little over the top and dumb.
Yeah. I think it's going for that. So I think it's going to be entertaining just for that.
That's true. It seemed just like a little raised in stakes a little too fast for my taste.
Yeah. But it also... Okay, I'm pretty sure that was also the plot of the Digimon movie that got turned into Summer Wars later.
Wait. Summer Wars was going to be a Digimon movie? What? It was the same director as the Digimon movies, but...
Yeah, no. Summer Wars was originally a Digimon movie.
Oh,
but
wow.
it had to be way toned down. And so the director then, years later, got to make the version of it that he really wanted to make.
Okay. That's weird.
And it was just a new IP.
I still need to see Summer Wars, actually.
It's great. I haven't seen the Digimon movie that it was based on, but it's great.
I will say I am now very interested in Digimon because the Digi-Evolution sequence was really, really cool. Of course I knew that happened, but it was really cool to see it because I don't know, I just like the idea of evolution as a concept.
Yeah.
Like thing gets bigger and then becomes stronger.
Yeah. It's sort of... And from that, I could kind of tell they're sort of leaning into the fact that it's a reboot. Because it's got the things about Digimon that everybody who would know about Digimon already knows, and it's showing those off sort of front-loaded. Yeah.
It seemed like they were trying to get to the things that a lot of people like more quicker, because I think the evolution took longer in the original show, is my guess.
Yeah. I would guess that. But they did a good job with it, so I'm interested.
Same. We got the little, rival boy on the slope, which is always nice at the end, with his cool white Digimon thing.
Yeah.
God, we probably sound retarded for not knowing anything. I'm sorry, Digimon gods. Forgive me, I'll watch the show.
Yeah, I would guess that. Yeah. But we'll probably be fine. Next up is Tamayomi the Baseball Girls.
I don't think I saw this one. Did I miss this?
It's...
Oh, no, I did watch this. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wait.
There's barely anything about it that I remember without my notes. My first note is, this is clearly a knockoff of something. And I feel like I would really like whatever that something is.
I don't think I saw this one, actually. Wow. How'd that happen? This is all you, man. I'm sorry. I missed this one completely.
Yeah. Okay, well, the premise of it is girl used to be in baseball club in middle school, and she had some kind of trauma with a pitch that she threw. I guess she must have hit the player or the batter, and it hurt them real bad or something. She's and now she's at a school that is famous for baseball, but she's not going to play baseball. She actually only joined this school so that she could wear their cute uniform.
So she could what?
So she could wear their cute uniform.
That's awful.
Yeah. There's some Yuri baiting, which is very obvious.
These character designs make them look like it's a Yuri bait show.
Yeah. Her friend, who she meets at this new school, was the catcher that she threw to. And they're sort of a battery. I think that's what it's called in baseball. I didn't like it. It's not good. Do not recommend. Just gonna fly through the rest of my notes here real quick. There are uncomfortably long pauses in dialogue, and it breaks the flow. Like, if you've played Kingdom Hearts 3, you'll know what I mean by that.
I try to forget about Kingdom Hearts 3 Key.
Yeah, well... Okay, well, it's exactly what I said. A character says a line, and then there's just half a second of silence, and then the next character will say their line. And it just keeps going on like that. And in the same vein, and probably for the same reason, some shots linger just a bit too long. And that's kind of uncomfortable. It's like they drew 5 frames extra, and then they left those in.
That's weird.
Yeah. This is the first show of the season that I can't imagine anybody liking. I'm not going to continue it.
I just pulled up the director to see what he worked on out of curiosity. He worked on the other famous baseball series, Major, because that has like 6 seasons. I've never heard
of that one.
I call it famous because I've seen it a lot, and it has a lot of seasons.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, like 6 seasons with 25 episodes each, give or take. So I just assumed it was like one of the big baseball anime based off that. So that's surprising. Because he did like season 6, season 5, and season 3 onward. But he doesn't have a lot of directorial under his belt. So there's that. Nothing like noteworthy that I can see that I recognize.
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. Well.
Mm-hmm. Well, you want to introduce the next one?
Yes. Have you ever thought that Hearthstone was cool? Because I haven't. And then they made it into a Yu-Gi-Oh clone called Shadowverse.
Nice.
And I mean, this show starts with people screaming at each other.
Yeah.
That could mean so many things. When I didn't know anything going into Shadowverse, and when you see this character, he looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh character, and then when you realize this is a Yu-Gi-Oh clone, it's really funny and weird.
Yeah. And incidentally, it feels more like a Yu-Gi-Oh clone than the actual Yu-Gi-Oh series.
Well,
that we
Yu-Gi-Oh!
will
7
talk about soon.
Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 is its own thing. Here's what, after you see after the opening plays, and I don't know, I really like that his grandfather is just reading this virtual newspaper that just is beamed into his hands.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a cool thing, just because it's so silly.
Yeah, I was just like thinking, oh, we're in the really high-tech future. So when the weird demon lord goes into his mind and like tells him, go to the shed. I'm calling him a demon lord because I have no idea what that was, and I kind of just assume it's a lord of hell because it looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh clone, so why not? I thought when he saw the cell phone that was like ancient technology, and then no, it's actually modern technology that everyone still uses.
Yeah,
that surprised me.
That's hilarious. I didn't even think of that.
That was like my first thought. Was like, what is this ancient technology? I thought that was funny. I still have no idea who the guy in black robes was. I think about that a lot, actually, after this show.
Yeah. I haven't thought about this show at all, except when I was looking at my notes.
Well, every time I scroll through my notes and I see Demon Lord, I'm like, yeah, that was Shadowverse.
Yeah. But I will say, clearly somebody on this production team was way into this project.
Yeah, like the animation of like the guy taking out his phone and then putting it into his like weird deck thing was inherently cool.
Yeah, although we don't know where the weird deck thing came from. That's odd.
Yeah.
Was he just wearing it the whole time and we didn't see his arm until then?
So, it's just one thing that is weird to me about this is like something that like every other Yu-Gi-Oh show never has an issue with because this is the only show I've seen it. This is the main character's like first time playing Shadowverse, which seems to be like this world's biggest thing. And like as in like it rules the world in a sense, and he didn't have a cell phone to play it.
Yeah.
That's like living in the Duel Monsters world and not being a duelist. That sounds like hell.
Yeah, it's I'm waiting for a moment. I'm not going to continue watching this, so I'm not waiting for it.
Neither am I.
But
It was bad.
I guarantee there's going to be a moment when it's revealed that the grandpa has some trauma involving Shadowverse, and that's why he didn't get our main character guy a smartphone. Or that's why he won't allow main character guy to get a smartphone.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing.
Are we gonna learn that like his dad actually planted the phone and communicated through ESP powers for him to get his Shadowverse deck?
I hope that's what happens.
I hope so too. The rest of the plot of the show was weird after this. Where the best duelist of the school is the girl instead of the Joey character, which was a surprise. I was not expecting. Yeah. So cool appreciation for there, but then like apparently people just like steal people's phones and it's like a thing in this world.
Yeah, that didn't make a lot of sense either. Like it was just the one bully guy going around saying, "Hey, duel me, and if I win, I get your phone," and nobody's doing it. I don't get that. Like if it were a normalized thing, you'd think nobody would actually be scared of him doing that.
That is literally grand theft of
Yeah.
stealing a phone. Because that's like around $1,000 purchase normally, unless tech prices got really low. Hard to say.
Yeah, but also he's trying to win it off of them in a bet, so that's not really theft. And maybe that's why he's doing it like that.
That's
But
true.
who knows?
That was weird. It was weird, but it was funny that he just like kicked a potted plant.
Yeah, he did. He just kicked a potted plant and left, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It was weird. It was weird. And then our main character goes to duel him because, you know, he's main character boy and he's loving it. He's kind of a douche in a sense for, like, not being more serious about his friend's phone.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm having a good time. Oh, yeah. Get fucked. You know, like that. That's him the entire time. Well, he's not really saying get fucked. He's more like, yeah, we're doing great. We're best friends now. That's more of a better synopsis.
Yeah, I kind of just zoned out during the whole big fight scene.
I
don't remember a
was,
single
but they
thing
did
that
skip,
happened.
like, they skipped most of the duel. But more importantly, this line was said because I have it in my notes. This is real from this show. The villain said, draw your last pathetic... Well, not pathetic, but draw your last card. Just like in Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode 1.
Yeah.
I had to pause the episode and rewind several times because I was laughing too hard.
Yeah.
Don't take my laughing at this to be serious. This show was bad. Like, real bad.
Yeah.
This was a hard watch. It was really boring. Like, there were long moments of things not going on. Like, between Demon Lord Man and Kaiba Villain at the end, there was like 15 minutes of nothing happening.
Yeah, and every time I think about this show, or I think about a scene that happened in it, I remember, wait, no, that happened in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s.
I can separate them pretty well. Because I have very good memories of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7. Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s.
Yeah. And I can honestly see this being a favorite for a lot of people, but yeah, I'm not going to continue this.
If I was
It's not
8,
good.
this would be my favorite show ever.
I could see that, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I will not be continuing the show. I just want to know if Demon Lord's his dad. That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm not going to continue this, but I'm glad it exists, because it's going to make some people very happy.
I agree. Does Shadowverse exist as a game, by the way? Let's check.
Yeah, Yeah, this show was actually made by an anime studio that is part of a game company that makes this game.
Huh.
Among other games. It's called
Well,
Psy Games.
Yeah, I found the game. Gotta say, monster designs are pretty great in this show. When they're not CG.
Yeah,
Because CG looks bad.
I'm sure I would agree with you if I remembered what any of the monsters looked like.
I don't blame you. They're barely in it. They're in for like literally 30 seconds.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Okay. Speaking of not good shows that are about children's card games, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s exists.
I don't know what you're talking about. This show is great.
I was excited when I saw card games in mechas. And I was interested when I got to the OP and it was kind of cool and jazzy.
It was a fun opening. Where do you want to... Yeah, the opening is fun. I remember... I put this on afterwards because I just had a good time with it. It was just such a energetic opening. I appreciate that in anime openings.
Yeah. And this was at least better than Shadowverse in that it was able to hold my attention for the entire episode.
Yeah. Where should we start on this? I forget all the characters' names for this show.
Our main character guy is Yuga, I think.
Right, because every Yu-Gi-Oh character has to have a U in it. YU.
Yeah, I think because it's got some relation to the word game.
Is that? I could see that.
Yeah, and
The entire gimmick is they live in a in this version of Yu-Gi-Oh, they live in a huge dystopian rule-centric world.
Yeah, I love how Yu-Gi-Oh! Seems intent on exploring every single possible dystopia that could be based on a children's card game. Because
Like-
5Ds was also a dystopian society, but it was a different kind of dystopia.
What kind of dystopia was in 5Ds?
5Ds was sort of a... 5Ds was
Sorry,
sort
what?
of a... Oh, sorry. 5Ds was a dystopia that was more in the realm of... There are slums. Big slums where most of the people live.
Alright. So
And then-
more poverty-based.
Yeah, a lot of poverty, whereas here it's clearly no poverty, but
High-tier fascism.
yeah.
Like, you can't... Like, it was illegal for kids to trade cards with each other.
Yeah, without going through the big company that owns everything.
Yeah. And it's so built into their society that even just making custom modifications to your dual disk is illegal. And
Yeah.
you can be banned. You can have, like, what is it?
A penalty, I think it's called?
Yeah, penalties. If you hit 6 penalties, you're banned from the entire thing. Like, you're never allowed to duel again in a society that revolves around dueling.
Yeah.
And the beauty of this, at least, is that there's, like, this rule guy who's so obsessed with rules that his entire comedy just comes from that he is just overreacting to Yuga doing dumb shit.
Yeah, I love that guy.
I do, too.
And-
I loved him the entire time.
I knew that I loved that guy when class was starting, and he just left the room, and it was just this snappy 1, 2, 3 frames animation that was it was hilarious.
Everything about him is hilarious. He's just... I don't know why, but he's got such perfect comedic timing on every joke in this episode.
Yeah. And
It
then
makes
when
no sense.
and then when Yuga is doing a duel to change the rules, he's just down with it.
I mean, he just accepts that he's like, if he doesn't win, I'm gonna get a penalty. My life will be over.
Yeah.
It's only 1, and Yuga has like 5 on his thing while he's doing this because he hacked his duelist in the first second.
Yeah.
Yeah, just ruining it himself. There's this weird Killua-esque character who has lightning powers for some reason.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about what that was.
It just feels like Yu-Gi-Oh's finally accepted they're just a dumbass series and they're just gonna do whatever the hell they want. Because,
Yeah.
you know, later on Yu-Gi has to go duel Kaiba Man.
Mm-hmm.
who has the Blue Eyes White Dragon, and it's just
Yeah, they
hilarious.
They just brought back the Blue Eyes White Dragon, which...
Yeah, it's
I
like
like
virtual...
that.
Oh, I like it too. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it was in shitty CG, but...
Yeah, and it's such a weird callback, though, because unless they're re-releasing the Blue Eyes White Dragon somehow...
They generally tend to, like, make modern updates to Blue Eyes quite often, because Blue Eyes is a fan favorite.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Like, Blue Eyes is, like, of all the Yu-Gi-Oh... Of all the first-generation Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Blue Eyes and Harpies are the most supported of those, consistently.
That's cool.
Yeah. Like, Blue Eyes for a while was actually a good deck, from what I recall. Like, we're talking like 2 years ago, I think, maybe?
Huh.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, more Blue Eyes support does not surprise me from this show. I also like the gimmick of, like, it's literally just, like, the, what's it called? The phone game that they made of Yu-Gi-Oh! A while back, except now you can just summon 3 monsters immediately.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
thought
just...
that was neat.
Yeah, I thought that was okay, cool. We're just going full in on the new version of Yu-Gi-Oh! That's fine. I like that somehow modding his dual disc affects everyone's dual disc, and now society's completely changed.
Yeah, and it's not like he modded his dual disc to look like that. He changed the rules. And the rule change, once it takes, it turned his dual disc into a completely different dual disc.
Which just sounds awful if you think about it, because if you make like any it also affects everyone's dual disc at the same time. There's no update. It's just like immediate.
Yeah, and I can imagine, because it seems like everybody in the society just wears them constantly.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like society's based around it.
Yeah, so I could imagine someone somewhere being in a really dangerous situation, and their dual disc just evolves out of nowhere.
I'd like to know what happens to the people in the middle of a duel with 5 monsters on the field.
Yeah.
Does that destroy their cards? Are they, like, gone forever? These are the questions I have.
Yeah. Well, it was late. It happened late at night, so I guess they're just counting on us not thinking about every single person in the world.
I assumed every person in the world when I saw this because I thought it was funny.
Yeah. That's the funniest thing that could happen.
Like, this show's really dumb, and the show knows it. That's why I like the show as much as I did. It's just... I don't know if it's going to be good long term, but I can see myself enjoying at least 5 more episodes.
Yeah. I don't plan on continuing it, but...
I don't blame you.
Yeah. I'm
this
glad
is
it
such
exists.
a weird, dumb show. I just love it for that alone.
Yeah. It seems like it'll be a favorite show for a bunch of people.
I don't know. Maybe I'll come back later on and say I finished it and say this was the best Yu-Gi-Oh. Not true, because GX exists.
That's true. But we can always hope that this ends up being the best Yu-Gi-Oh.
If it gets more dumb than GX, then we might have a contender. Because Yu-Gi-Oh is at its best when it's really dumb.
Yeah. Next on my list, because it probably won't be on yours, Troublesome Old Man.
I
couldn't
saw
find
that you couldn't find it.
Yeah. I couldn't find a full episode of it, but the episodes are apparently only 3 minutes long. So I found a preview of it that seems like it's just a scene from the show. It's cute, and I intend to watch it if it gets subbed.
Okay.
Because the premise of it is just, it's this old man flirting with this old lady using flirting techniques that younger people tend to use. And it's really funny and cute. The grandma lady gets all flustered and embarrassed, and that's adorable.
I love 3-minute short animes. I don't know why, but I always find these just tiny chunks of just being just fun. Also, you can binge them in a day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... Like I said, the preview makes it seem like it'll be really cute, and I hope it gets subtitled, because I want to see if this goes anywhere, and even if it doesn't go anywhere, I want to see more of it.
I when I saw like the picture and read the short description, I wanted to see it as well, because 3-minute shorts are just cute, and it looked cute, art style wise.
Yeah. But now on to something that is distinctly not cute. Why don't you introduce this one?
Gleipnir? Is that how you pronounce it?
I think it's Gleipnir.
Gleipnir. Gleipnir is like the weirdest thing because it has like such an intense, specific audience in mind when you watch it, because it's literally about a guy in a fursuit.
Yeah, well, no, a guy who
fights
turns into a fursuit.
Yeah, right. My bad. A man who turns into a fursuit to fight other monsters.
Yeah, and clearly this is a thing that just happens in the world.
Yeah,
because
because we meet...
There's a flashback where he's surprised and disappointed at his monster form.
Yeah. And we also like see like in the very beginning where it looks like a horror movie when you're trying to, because I didn't read the preview on this because I didn't read the preview on a lot of shows. So I thought this was gonna be a horror show when I first watched it, because it's just, static. You can't see the main character's arm, or whoever it is when they're using the gold token thing.
Yeah.
They're Chuck E. Cheese coins. How did I not realize that till now?
Wow,
The magical monster coins are Chuck E. Cheese coins.
That makes so much sense.
It really does, because he looks like a Chuck E. Cheese mascot.
Yeah.
So this is about Chuck E. Cheese fighting monsters.
Basically, yes.
Like, the animation for the fight scenes, I know I'm skipping way into it, it's just was really cool. It was really well done. Like, the choreography is great in the show, and the animation is on top of everything.
Yeah. It makes me really uncomfortable to watch, so I don't want to watch more of this, but it might be good enough to warrant giving a second episode a try.
I don't think I will, because I just don't like fursuits, because they creep me out in a sense.
Yeah, it's that, and also just the whole thing has an air of unsettlingness to it.
Yeah, there is this interesting about the main character that made me hate him for the first half of the episode until I realized more about him, which is like when he's like turning down opportunities because he doesn't want to stand out.
Yeah.
Because I just hate that in anime characters a lot.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting trope, but
it's a trope I'm not a fan of. It's a trope I'm really not a fan of. It does turn me off of a lot of shows. And that's one reason I was turned off a lot on this show, was for him as well. I do like that his nose actually does work, though, because he like smells a fire later on in the episode and just goes to investigate it.
Yeah, and I really like the visual effect that they use to represent smell.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, the first time we see it is when he smells the corpse of a dead rabbit that no one notices.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to stand out for noticing it, so he just ignores it. It is nice knowing that he later on went and buried it, showing what his true colors are, is that of a softie.
Yeah. And I do.
So
I really like that they kind of nailed the average looks look on him.
Yeah, no, he doesn't look generic. He just looks like a normal guy.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard to do, for male characters at least.
Yeah, definitely.
And then he almost rapes a girl.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it was like, wow, you're a terrible person.
Yeah, and it's sort of, it seems like they try to justify it because it's his fursuit animal instincts taking over, and then he's able to push it back, but even then, that was an uncomfortable scene.
No, that was like when I was like, whatever the girl does to him, he deserves.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of in agreement on that, because she hasn't done anything bad to him yet. Like, too terrible. I mean, she's still a terrible person as well for her own separate reasons, because, I
mean, she pushed him off a building. That's
just to see if he was a monster.
Yeah.
That's... If she was wrong, she was awful human being. Well, pretty awful then for just that.
Yeah. Speaking of the girl, I like that it's mentioned how Claire is an odd name, and not necessarily that it's a good kind of odd name. Because if you recall the line where he says, "That's a trashy, fancy name," he's using...
that was cool.
In Japanese, he's calling it Kira Kira Nemu, which I'm butchering the pronunciation of. And that means sparkly name, or something similar to that. It's like a...
Sparkly name.
It's an onomatopoeia.
God, I wish we had more onomatopoeias in English. that we used.
Yeah. Yeah,
Your name Twinkles. Yes, shit like that.
Yeah, I only know that because a Japanese teacher told the whole class that once.
That's cool.
She was talking about odd names in Japanese, and how a lot of the time it's English names that are used to give kids more unique names.
Whenever I think Claire in anime, my immediate thought goes to Claymore.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I might give this a second episode, but I probably won't.
I won't either because one, I don't like the aesthetic. Two, I kind of thought the powers besides the suit was kind of dull, honestly, because it's just like, I'm stronger, faster, and jump higher, you know?
Yeah, it seems like it's just super strength. Although I did see a video on it with people discussing it, and it was just... It seems like the main character dynamic is going to be Claire opens a flesh zipper on his back and gets inside him to sort of pilot him as a fursuit.
I
saw a clip of it, and it
was
funny, really unsettling.
I guess she would be a better fighter than him.
Yeah.
What was the purpose of that for, like, a normal monster, though?
I don't know. I don't know.
That sounds like if anyone, like, had confidence in their skills, it would be worthless.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. I don't get this show.
I don't either.
But
this was a strange show. Though I think furries will love it. Just
yeah, I'm not sure if furries will love it because it doesn't seem to be it seems like a very unsettlingly portrayed version of furries.
That's true. Maybe if you're into like the more gruesome aesthetic of a furry design.
Maybe?
Yeah.
I
feel like there is someone whose this aesthetic fits perfectly.
Yeah.
Because this aesthetic seems way too niche.
Yeah, somebody will really like this show.
Yeah. Not me.
Yeah. It seems
I did think production designs were on top fire, though.
Yeah. It seems like Mother's Basement really likes this show.
Is he a furry? Is that confirmed?
I don't know. I was just watching his Spring 2020 anime video.
That was your first mistake, watching Mother's Basement.
He's consistent and middling.
He's a bookkeeper, and you know it.
Yeah. And his bad opinions are funny.
What were his bad opinions of this season?
Liking this show, for one. I think he also liked Shadowverse.
Oof. Liking Shadowverse.
He talked about liking some card game anime. Maybe there's another one.
Let me check through my notes immediately. If not, it might be one of the other half.
Yeah. Oh, it's probably in the other half because I don't think there's another one in this.
God. All right. That's fine.
List. But yeah, this seems like a good halfway point. So, I'm going to take us to our sponsor in editing, and we'll be right back.
Wow.
Hey, it's Keyblade Spirit here. We were going to do a really funny gag with a joke about the name of a character in the next show, but after some issues, we're afraid it might be a weird copyright thing. So I'm just going to snip that out, and there will be a link to just that bit in the description. Back to the show. Welcome back from our sponsor.
Hello. Help us.
Yeah, our sponsor is actually a good segue into our next show, Tower of God.
Tower of God. This is a show a lot of people love and like.
Yeah, this is the big show that's getting promoted everywhere. We're probably gonna find some way to incorporate it into our thumbnail.
At least someone should. Wait, that's my job, I think. Oh no.
Well, the plan is that we're both gonna do a thumbnail, hopefully, if I can think of
Yeah.
one.
We'll both try.
Yeah.
That's off topic for this. What did you think of Power of God? Power of Dog.
I liked it a lot more than Gleipnir. It doesn't make me as viscerally uncomfortable. The art is kind of neat and sketchy.
I liked the sketchy lines a lot in this show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always, if you're gonna do unique line design, I love it when you do that.
Yeah.
But whenever the lines became clean, it threw me off every time.
Yeah, definitely. And I also
I felt I felt autistic for pointing that out every time I saw it. It just hurt me inside. It was like, am I making the most niche comment? So it makes me happy that you also had that complaint.
Yeah. And, well, see, the first complaint that I had is even more autistic. Mm-hmm. Because I noticed early on, when our main character guy is chasing after love interest girl, and he's tripped and he's on top of her somehow, and you can see his breath because it's cold. Mm-hmm. It's the same breath cloud every time.
Wasn't it also CG'd, if I recall?
It might have been CG'd, but it looked like they just drew a cloud, made it slightly transparent, so that it would be foggy, and then they had it size up as it came out of his mouth, subtly, and then fade out.
I did not catch that. Good on you for catching that.
Yeah. Yeah. It only happened I only noticed it the one time, but it annoyed me so much that I have it in my notes.
Well, that is very autistic to point out.
Yeah. And the backstory seems tacked on. That's the only way I can describe it.
The summary on this one made me think it was going to be about the girl, Rachel, I think her name was.
Yeah, Rachel, but they pronounce it Rahel.
So the German pronunciation.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's a Korean comic, so maybe it's clearer in that. I'm just gonna call her Rachel.
Same, because I'm an American and I butcher everything.
Yeah, it's what the subtitles say, so I'm going with what the subtitles say.
The background art in the show's really good, though.
Absolutely.
I just love how beautifully drawn each background looks this entire show. It just makes me excited for each new setting because I just know it's gonna be beautifully drawn, and it is.
Yeah, if there's anything that carries the show for me, it's gonna be that.
Yeah, if I watch more of this, it will just be for that art because it looks consistently good. It's consistently amazing.
Yeah.
I'm just really confused on a lot about the world, which is fine because it's episode 1, but I just thought there'd be more build-up before we went to the tower.
Yeah.
I don't know, what level of technology is in this world, or, what kind of magic is used, because we know magic is used, but, what's the level, what can a mage do is not shown, which is, episode 1. It's fine, but I'm just confused the entire time. There's a guy with a rifle and there's a guy with a bow, so why are they both using that? And what's the point of climbing the tower? I'm still confused on, I heard you get a wish granted.
Yeah, and it can apparently be any wish. So I guess you could theoretically just become God.
Okay.
If you wanted. So that's at least a reason to climb the tower.
Alright, so any wish can be granted. Okay. That makes Rachel's wish a little strange. If I want to see the stars, a little strange on a tower that is going to kill, you're going to kill, people or beings just to see stars.
Yeah, that's odd, but I guess if they've been living underground that whole time, or underground, or pollution.
I thought only Bomb was doing that.
I'm not sure. Maybe
this is why I need more explanation on the world.
It seems
if there's
it seemed like Bomb was more in that scene where he was trapped underground. I think he was just trapped because of a cave-in.
Yeah, that's why I just assumed Rachel was from the above world and she could see up. And if there was smog, it wasn't shown to us.
Yeah. It's odd for sure.
Yeah.
I like where it seems to want to go.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, climbing the tower, each gimmick is very Hunter x Hunter exam vibes.
Yeah.
Which is, a fun arc. Who doesn't love that arc? So, it's cool. It's just, I feel like it's lacking the character of Hunter x Hunter. Because Bomb is just boring to me. He's just generic protagonist coon.
Yeah.
Like, nothing about him spouts big goal, destiny, or character. It's just like, I'm gonna go find Rachel.
Yeah. And like I said, it feels so much like the backstory was just tacked on so that there could be emotional build-up, rather than having anything actually important to say about the backstory.
Like, if they really wanted to have a dumb reason without having to throw in the backstory, they could just say he wanted to revive his brother or sister. And there you go.
Yeah.
Good enough. I also didn't like the character designs.
Yeah.
For any of them, except the weird bunny dude guy who's like the guardian of the tower.
Yeah, head on. Applied directly
he was cool.
to the forehead.
I liked his weird bunny cyborg aesthetic. I don't know why I'm calling him a cyborg, but he looked kind of futuristic in a sense.
Yeah. He's like a weird robot bunny sort of deal.
Yeah. He's cool. Really strong, as we got to see. One thing that is weird, though, to me at least, is that both the women that met him, the main Bomb so far, have said he has a cute face when he literally has the generic protagonist face.
Yeah, that's probably just the anime industry's idea of a cute face.
It's not cute anymore to me. It's kind of just boring.
Yeah. Yeah. Kevin Pankin is doing the OST for this.
Oh.
He's gone from great in Made in Abyss to existing. He's still not bad, but you can kind of tell his heart isn't quite in it as much.
I don't blame him. This is a very... This show's just not doing it for me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say, like...
Yeah.
Also, the CG looks bad in the show.
Definitely. And the big eel thing was cool, but you could tell.
Yeah. Bomb, his character seemed to be inconsistent already in the first episode, at least to me. In the sense that like Bomb is like allows himself to be eaten by the thing immediately.
Yeah, and then
he's like,
and then
gets
suddenly
afraid.
He's scared later
Of like just this big dude.
Yeah.
That took me out of it immediately. Like, Bomb, you're supposed to be the cool Chad Kirito of the show. What happened?
Yeah. But speaking of that last scene, unless you've got more points, I've got this one last point that I'm interested in. And that last scene, I feel like it should have been played as a comedic thing where you get to see everybody who takes aim on him and then gets killed by somebody else who then takes aim on him.
Now, that would have been hilarious.
Yeah. And see, that felt like where that was going, but it cut off way too early.
Yeah.
Because that could have been a really cool way to establish, okay, he's the lucky guy.
Yeah, that would have been good. So right now he's got a legendary sword with him.
Yeah. And apparently he has some kind of relationship with the sword now, because the sword likes dudes.
Yeah. I don't know if that sword is actually really strong or not, but it was just said to us, so it's hard to say.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's some kind of magic sword.
Probably. I mean, I've always liked the idea of sentient swords because it's a gimmick I just like because it's fun.
Yeah. One thing that was
And
odd to me is that I think it's called the Black March. I think that's the name of the sword. And when I first saw when I first saw the subtitle, I thought march like okay, marching. But then they kept saying it, and I heard that it was called, and I heard in Japanese Kurosangatsu, which is the month March. Kuro black, and then Sangatsu, third month. So I don't know what they're going for with that.
did you watch this on Crunchyroll like I did?
Yeah, I watched it on Verve.
Oh, okay. So same subtitles. Maybe a subtitle issue.
It may be a subtitle issue. It may be that it's just more. Remember, the language of the original comic is Korean. So maybe it's something that makes more sense in Korean.
That is possible.
And then in English, they're trying to sort of play it like it's going to be a twist that it's actually referring to the month and not the act of marching.
We are going through 2 layers of translation.
Yeah. And then in Japanese, there's no way to sell that.
Possibly. Huh.
I don't know. I don't know either of the original 2 languages that well. I just know what I heard.
I only speak good old American.
Yeah.
The only language that matters.
Yep. Okay. Well, if that's all on Tower of God.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Okay. We can segue into Sing Yesterday for Me.
Sing Yesterday was definitely a nice change of pace from the last few shows, considering this is the first of the shows that was about adults.
Yeah. And, like, definite grown adults, not...
Yeah, like, this guy's out of college.
Yeah.
And that's rare in anime.
Yeah.
Like, I can think of Nana off the top of my head. That's, like, of course, non-fantasy, because if it's non-fantasy, then,
Yeah, if it's in a fantasy world, then it's... And the characters can be any age, and it can make sense.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they're out of college, they graduated 6 months ago, and the main character is still working part-time at a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, basically 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
His life feels very relatable to me. Because although I have never been out of college yet, or I've never finished college, I've got an associate's degree. But anyway, my point is at one point after a couple of years going for my associate's degree, I just stopped college because I got sick of failing this one math class over and over again. And so I went to work for some company that I won't name because I don't like them anymore. Because I worked for them. And so going through that and then finding a reason to go back to college was... It's not the same as what's happening with Rikuo here, but I related to it a lot.
I can see a lot of people relating to this situation. I can see a lot of... I mean, I relate. I think most people, at least over here in the States, relate to him in a sense.
Yeah.
Though for different reasons than the reason because he's in that situation because of his own self, rather than not finding a job. It's just because he wasn't looking.
Yeah, and that's kind of respectable to me because it seems like what happened was he just decided, I can't think of what I want to do with my life, so I'm just gonna keep doing what I've been doing until I figure that out. And
Which, in a sense, makes this show hard to watch.
Yeah, and that's also a much harder mindset to get into and accept in Japan society, as our best friend guy explains.
Yeah.
And I kind of like...
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about him being there to be like the explainer to the American audience what the cultural context is, but
Are you talking about the blonde-haired guy?
Yes, the guy who visits Riko in his apartment at one point.
Right. Yeah. These are the kind of things you see a lot in, people like us, I would just say. That's kind of why I hate him so much. He just represents all the worst aspects of my character.
Yeah.
At least of 2 years ago for me, or a year ago in my situation.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So I really hate him, but for good reason, on purpose.
Yeah, clearly you're not supposed to like him. You're just supposed to be able to... You're supposed to hate him because you hate yourself.
Yeah, and that's why the show's good.
Yeah.
If you can get past your cringing at yourself for all your mistakes, which I don't know if I can do. I will watch at least another episode.
Yeah.
Because it seems like after this episode, he is on the right path in a sense.
Yeah.
I do like that he has that there's just this weird crow girl.
Yeah.
And the entire reason about why it's okay for her to just go around with crows is that she's a cute girl.
Yeah, that's really funny to me. And it makes so much sense to me on an emotional level, even though clearly that's not how it works in real life.
I don't know. If you saw a person, guy or girl, or non-binary, walk into a store with a crow on their shoulder, would you question them? Or would you think, that's cool? Because I'm of the mindset of thinking, that's cool.
I would probably think that's cool, but I would also question them.
I would question them too. But also, I'm not a Japanese, rule-abiding person. So that probably has a lot to do with my mindset on this.
Yeah. Plus, it might just be that you don't want to question it because nobody else is questioning it. And she's so nonchalant about it that it seems like it's clearly normal to her.
I mean, she obviously can only relate to crows, in a sense. And I'm sure that'll be expressed later on about why she's only hanging out with crows later on.
Yeah.
One thing that I did like is that I didn't buy that this girl would hang out with the loser like this guy. And then they gave her a reason in the show, and it was because she knew him from a few years ago.
Yeah.
And possibly had a crush on him. Obviously, there's more details on that later on. Yeah, I thought that was nice. I thought that really expressed why, unlike in NHK where the girl just shows up randomly, this girl has a reason to some degree.
Yeah. And I also like that she's got a little bit of a history with the teacher lady that
was nice and cool. Yeah.
And clearly, it's clearly set up that she did something that she thinks caused Haru to quit school.
Mm-hmm. When she was suspended for working at a bar.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
And this is a comparison that is going to come out of left field, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Steins Gate by chance?
I have seen Steins Gate. Good show.
Okay. Haru, to me, feels like a much more realistic version of Mayushi's personality.
Of whose personality? I didn't hear the name.
Mayuri.
Oh. Yeah, I can see that. She's a lot more grounded than her in a lot of senses.
Yeah. But she's still got that peppiness to her. She's got almost the same hair, I want to say, or close enough that I recognized it.
Though I definitely would say her name was Haru, right, for this show?
Yeah.
I forget character names really easily until I spend a few episodes with them.
Yeah.
I felt like she was a lot smarter than she lets on.
Yeah, she definitely
Like,
seems pretty smart.
She seemed, and Mayuri didn't seem that intelligent to me. From Steins Gate, from what I recall, she seemed to be average intelligence to me, from my memory.
Yeah. See, to me, Mayuri came off as smart but ditzy.
Yeah, I could see maybe.
Like
I don't know. It's been a while
smart.
since Steins. Yeah. Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah, I've got to go back. I can rewatch it too.
It's a good show. It's a good show.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked this show. Sing Yesterday.
No, I did
for me.
too. It was really hard to watch for me.
Same.
But there's one thing that I think was really bad that we haven't talked about this show yet.
What's that?
The flashback filters looked like absolute dog shit, and I hate every time we see a flashback because they use this shitty filter that anyone can use. And you can tell because it's literally just generic.
Yeah. I kind of have some hope that maybe they'll be able to remove that on like the Blu-ray release or something.
I don't know if they ran out of time or what, but it just looks awful.
Yeah. They always improve little visual things on the Blu-rays, though.
That is true.
Hopefully that'll be one of them.
I hope so, because that looks absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
It is one of the only bad things I have to say about the show, besides the fact it's hard to watch.
Yeah. And it's a Doka Kobo show, so it's gonna be really pretty.
That is true. And I see this being like the modern NHK in a sense.
Yeah. I haven't seen NHK myself, but from I think the one episode that I saw, it seems pretty similar.
NHK is like this, except the entire thing is that the main guy's a NEET, and it's about him trying to escape his NEETdom. And with other NEETs. Good show. It's a good show.
Yeah.
I won't get into spoilers here to say for yourself.
Yeah, I got that much out of the first episode of it.
Awesome.
Yeah. You want to introduce the next one?
And every time in anime, we gotta reference the West in some way. And they were thinking, what can we do? What if we have a James Bond character, but an anime? And thus, Millionaire Detective was born.
Yep, Millionaire Detective. Balance.
But he's not a millionaire. But he's not a millionaire. He has unlimited money.
Yeah, his balance is unlimited.
Yeah.
That's the subtitle to the show.
Yeah, so I don't know why he's called Millionaire Detective, because he spends 1 billion yen in the first episode. So, if he was a millionaire, he'd be broke by now, of course.
If I had to guess, he's probably just... If I had to guess, this is probably just Millionaire was borrowed into Japanese at some point, and now it just means really rich person.
Maybe. This was I thought the show was going to be a lot campier than it actually was. Because the entire opening's a James Bond homage.
Yeah.
And it's really good, as openings go. Like, it's a really good parody of James Bond openings. Because it's just like, it has the sexy girls doing the thing, he's smoking a cigar, it literally ends with him looking through a gun barrel, he just doesn't shoot it.
Yeah. That was great.
It's just like, this is amazing. I had high hopes after that. And then, they take the show way too seriously.
Yeah. See, I didn't take it seriously at all.
No, it's just the way it felt to me. It felt serious more than campy. At least until the detective arrived, and then he was just like, he's just a dumbass.
Yeah, well, see, he's just like a real rich person. From our main two characters, what I get is Kanbei Daisuke, or Kanbei Daisuke, the dashing, emotionless robot millionaire who doesn't give a fuck about anything except getting the job done, and the sensible working boy who is also a cop, who
cares passionately about human lives.
Yeah, and he actually understands that you can't just let two robbers drive off a bridge in a car that has a bomb in it. So he rescues them.
I mean, I do like that he punched the Prince of Arabia and stole his car. I mean, he did pay for it, but, you know.
Yeah, I love how...
Like, when he gets onto the scene, the show does become better, because he just inherently just is funny in many situations.
See, I was totally down for what the show was as soon as the robber couple went in to rob the store.
The chocolate store.
Yeah, and it turned out to be a chocolate store instead of
that
a
was great.
jewelry store.
That was great. I just wish it was more campy, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Because I felt like it was like focusing to me, it felt like it was focusing way too hard on the on like the seriousness of the bomb threat rather than the campy dumb solution that the millionaire idea had. Daisuke.
Yeah. I'll see what my interpretation of it from the beginning was that it's sort of meant to be a serious comedy. Like, do you remember Sakamoto desu ka?
Yes, but Sakamoto had like really over-the-top solutions to very basic things, which is what made Sakamoto really funny.
Yeah.
And here I was more bored most of the time rather than laughing my ass off like I was in Sakamoto.
Yeah. I think the robber couple were the people that were supposed to carry the first half of the episode until the millionaire detective comes on scene.
That's the thing, though, is I actually found the main guy, the straight guy, to be pretty decent in some senses.
Yeah.
Like, he did his, he felt like he could fit in Psychopaths very well.
Yeah, definitely. He seems competent, for sure.
Yeah. That's all I really have to say about this. It was...
Yeah, okay.
I didn't really have a lot to say on this show. It was kind of just... It was a weird one.
Yeah. Like I think this would be the perfect pick for Toonami if anything from this season goes on there. It's not it's not the most likely pick, but I think it's the best one that could go on there.
It has a lot of Western aesthetic to it.
Yeah. It feels like it's very, very made to appeal to Americans.
Which is why it's bad. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious. I'm gonna keep watching.
That's good.
I'm not. Yeah. I loved the ending with the robber couple. Where
they just walk away.
Yeah.
If they don't come back, that's a sin.
Yeah, that's gonna be a shame. I would love it if their relationship was sort of a B plot of this show.
Because they spent a lot of time on them, so I hope they do come back.
Yeah, and they've got unique and kind of good character designs.
Yeah, so more reason for them to hopefully come back. They only stole 8,000 yen.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Can you imagine going to jail over only 8,000 yen?
Yeah. That's kind of funny. That's what, like $8?
That's $80.
Okay, that's a little bit better.
It's better, but it's still not a lot to go to jail on.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you should steal, but still.
Yeah. I hope they get their big break.
I hope they too rob the jewelry store. Yeah. Oh, that was funny though. Them like joking about like, or not joking, but them like the guy being afraid of each having a different reason to be afraid of like the different guy who sells them things inside stores.
Yeah, that was funny. I liked how.
And when he shoots the guy, I forget what was his partner, the detective's or not the cop's partner. And the payoff of who the girl he was talking about is just this old lady.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. I was like, oh. And they don't spend a lot of time on that joke because the next joke is that he gets shot.
Yeah.
And he's just screaming in pain, and then they find out it was only paint. That was hilarious. You know, maybe I will give the show next episode to see if it's better on a second episode.
Yeah. I loved the
because that joke was really well written.
Yeah. I also loved the scene after the car goes over the edge of the bridge and the bomb blows up, but our main character guy is dangling off the bridge, and our boy, the millionaire detective, just looks at him until he falls.
Because he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know, this show really does make out the millionaire to be an asshole, which I do appreciate.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, he's just like a real millionaire.
Yeah. I just don't know why he selected this division to be a part of.
I don't know either, but I also like that this is clearly supposed to be what millionaires are like, or what rich people are like. They control the police, and it's just
I really hope the story behind this is that the director or writer just knew, or the writer of the manga, just like knew a producer who acted like this because he had a lot of money, and this was based on him.
I would love that.
If it's based off that, I will love this show far more than what I currently do. But I will give this show another episode, actually, just because you convinced me on that, on those few jokes that were really good.
That's good then.
Yeah, because also this opening is fire.
Yeah, it's definitely great. I can't wait for the full version of this song to come out.
Me too. This season has a lot of good openings.
Yeah. What'd you think of Listeners?
Listeners is a bad version of Macross.
Really?
That's how I'd classify it. It's like for the first part of the episode, they keep talking about the players and the earless, and every time they said players, I just cringed a little bit inside.
Yeah.
And then when you get to like the flashback where they just keep talking about players and players and players, I just started slowly dying inside, and I had to pause the episode to cry. Yeah. As I do.
Yeah. See, I got a lot of and I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation here. I thought a lot about the mood of Eureka 7 on this.
I have only seen the first episode of Eureka 7. I need to watch more, because I really liked episode 1 of that, but...
Yeah. I thought the mayor was really funny.
Yeah, he was cool.
Yeah.
He was funny.
And then there was the scene where he's giving them a lecture about how he's so happy they saved the monument.
Oh, and then, it just breaks.
Yeah, and then the monument... And it's shown, or the camera kind of cuts around to show things breaking, and you just know it's all leading up to tearing down the monument.
Mm-hmm. What I didn't get is that, why did the guy just, I get that he just, destroyed the monument, but he just left town. He didn't even say goodbye to his sister.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I hope that's just meant to be funny.
I don't know, I just, took that as, in the obvious worst sense, as I tend to do with these situations.
Yeah. Well, see, clearly, Echo and our girl Mew, she, which clearly that's supposed to be a play on the word music.
Or muse.
That's possible too, but those are also kind of the same root.
Yeah, they are. But I could see it being one of the two. Music and muse were my first two thoughts.
Yeah. Anyway, I like Mew. She's cool.
She does not give no fucks, which is fun.
Yeah, I like how they completely forego any sense of angst in the face of amnesia with her.
I do appreciate that, but it's still amnesia, and I just don't like amnesia in anime because it's so overdone.
Yeah, I kind of appreciate that her amnesia isn't really a source of drama here. It's just
That is
incidental
true.
to her.
She very much seems to be a very cheerful girl, which is nice. Which generally seems to be the case with anime girls, anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, whoops. But I just didn't like Echo. He's maybe just too autistic for me.
Maybe.
He might be. I mean, I did like that he's just like, unlike in a lot of other shows this season as well, where the main character is supposed to be support and he just comes out to be like the guy. He is just her support, as in he makes literally her quote unquote equipment.
Yeah.
God, that's horrible naming, actually, when I say that out loud.
See, I always like when there's a weird name for what the giant robots are called.
Oh no, I do too. I just don't like them being that dumb. I like them being a little more gimmicky. Like in Gundam, it's mobile suits. That's fun to say. It's not dumb like equipment.
Yeah. Well, see,
In Macross,
I like it because it's dumb, and I guess it's meant to be like a play on music equipment. Because
I guess
at
if they
least
called them instruments, that would have been funny to me.
it may have been, or like the one that we see the most of. It's clearly transformed from an amplifier.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe just call it that. Or maybe that's going to be this particular equipment's name. Amplifier.
That would have been cool. That would have been cool. If he called it the amplifier, I would have been down with that. When I finally realized what they meant by earless at the end of the episode, I thought, oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
That's very fitting, because they beat them with music. But yeah, and she pretty much just fought like just by shooting sound waves out of her, which I thought was the more boring way to have a mech use music, considering in Macross 7, my favorite version of Macross, where the guy just played a guitar to destroy aliens.
Yeah.
And by destroy aliens, I mean turn them to his side to make them understand him through the art of music. Because Macross 7's a joy, given to us by the gods in Japan.
Yeah. My hope is that the Soundwave thing is just going to be the most boring version of what this does.
I hope so. I mean, obviously, since he's a mechanic, he'll probably just upgrade it. And Echo is a little bitch for not wanting to go on his dream to help support Mew.
Yeah. Well, see, I kind of like that and I don't like it because clearly this whole first episode is meant to draw you in and get you thinking about how... Or not get you thinking, but get into Echo's head and and show it's not just about him getting the opportunity. He's also far too used to his current situation, and so he needs something
That's
to
fair.
push him out.
That's fair. I do appreciate that this was a good showcase of the gimmick of the show.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is going to get into Monster of the Week format because it just doesn't feel that kind of show.
Yeah.
Compared to other mechas, which is weird that we have like 3 mechas on this list this season.
Yeah.
If you count Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. Was not expecting that many mechas. But the mecha is CG, and that inherently is a turnoff.
Yeah,
It's hard for me to watch CG mechas, I'm sorry.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I think the fact that it's CG here, given the weirdness of this show, it's possible that that could be made meaningful somehow.
Possibly. I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna do CG mechas, you should like make the entire show CG.
Yeah, but then you get Genlock.
That you do. Well, you can do an entire show in CG and make it look good.
Yeah.
It's been done before.
It's,
Land of the Lustrous looked good.
Yeah, Beastars looks great.
Promare looks amazing.
Yeah.
So, it can be done. I know it can be done by Japan.
Yeah. The main thing that annoyed me about the CG is that the girl on the mech was also CG.
I hate it when they do that. She looked awful. Speaking of Mew riding the mech, I love her design so
Same.
much. I don't know if it's just the white hair or just the amount of white in her outfit or just the hints of red, but she looks amazing.
Yeah, she
One of my
looks
favorite designs
great.
of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's also just really cute.
That too. Echo, by the way, also great design.
Yeah.
Like a really probably of all the generic Protacoons, he's probably one of my favorite. I mean, that's unfair. That is very unfair for me to say. I take that entire thing back. He does not look generic at all. He is very sticks out for a main protagonist.
Yeah. In fact,
I
I'd
adore
say-
his design.
Yeah. It kind of all the character designs that we've seen right now feel
I love his
good.
sister's design. She was great.
yeah. And the look of the series, or at least of what we've seen, it feels at least unique.
It does. Yeah, it has really yeah, I was not expecting this good designs of characters. I'm not a fan of the mech design.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of that random bot parts put together, random slabs of metal. It's always my least favorite, the more realistic looking mech in a sense. I just realized you
Yeah.
couldn't see me doing quotation marks.
I kind of got it.
Yeah. I never liked that in mechs. I like them being more goofy and over the top, and this is a very super robot-esque kind of show in tone, at least.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, you're fighting with music. You can't be real robot with that. I'm sure there's some Macross fans who would kill me for saying that, considering they love Macross Plus when they're wrong for not loving Macross 7 as the best Macross. Fuck all of you.
Yeah. I also, because of the musical theme, I kind of, and also the music of the series, it kind of made me think that it's trying to be like Fooly Cooly, but it's going with a totally different tone.
It kind of is.
Like the monument that fell at the end, seeing that throughout the whole episode, that reminded me of the big iron from Fooly Cooly.
This show's a lot more grounded than Fooly Cooly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Which is why it's weird, because I don't know where this goes on the mech chart of being super robot to real robot, which is just a sliding scale. Somewhere probably in the middle.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
I don't know, when we get to the end of the show and she has to kill God with the power of rock and roll, maybe that'll change my mind. I don't know if I'm going to continue this, though. CG mechs are a big turnoff for me.
Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes.
Please do. If you tell me it gets good and more character designs keep staying as this good, I probably will continue it, because I'm willing to watch a show for character designs.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really interested in what the earless actually are. Or what they're
I'm
doing.
kind of...
And what
yeah,
that
their design
calamity
is
was
boring.
in the backstory.
I figured we'd get an explanation for that later on. I really hope they get cooler designs, because
Yeah.
they were very boring.
Yeah, but we've seen different equipment already on that TV.
We did, but we didn't really know what they did, so it'll be
Yeah.
fun to see. If there's not a guy fighting around with a guitar, that is a shame. I'm just saying.
Definitely.
What if there's like a boy band of just them playing instruments and that's their entire gimmick?
I can definitely see this being sort of like a getting a band together thing for the first arc.
Please let it be that. That would be amazing. If
Yeah.
that's the key, if that's the arc, please tell me and I will watch the rest of the show.
Okay, then.
I will watch the rest of the show if it becomes we're getting the band together. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Weird show.
And now it's not it's not a first season, but I know you
Oh,
really liked Dropkick on My Devil Dash.
I did not finish this episode when they introduced the other characters, but I found this show really funny. I don't have a lot to say. It's just it made me smile a lot.
In the couple of minutes that I watched, I smiled a couple of times. The moment where I stopped was where one of them made a joke, and then a couple seconds passed and they both laughed like it was a laugh track. And that was my first and only note. Anime does not need a laugh track.
I mean, that is true.
My
first note was season 2 and didn't realize, and my second note is real funny, and my third note is 7 out of 10. I'll go over why I liked it, though. That's enough for me to remember. When it started off, it came off really generic, and my first thought was me rolling my eyes seeing the lolly, the gothic lolly with an eye patch over her eyes, the most generic design for an anime girl ever.
Mm-hmm.
She summons this snake girl, and then she just, like, they come to the realization that she can't send her back, which was just, I found it entirely funny, that entire sequence.
Yeah.
Thus causing Jasmine to do her drop kick, which was hilarious. Just the entire over-the-top animation, the entire her screaming out every single thing. Her failing, getting stuck in the floor. I just found the comedy really funny. It was very the kind of humor I really like in anime. And as I continue to go through, like, they get to this beautiful joke of her, like, it's like a 5-minute joke in a 20-minute episode of her arguing in her head with multiple demons, with multiple versions of herself. Yeah. Each one like a different version. I just loved it to death. And after that joke, you get introduced to, like, these other characters who I hadn't met yet. So I was like, okay, I guess I should watch season 1. I don't know what to say. I just found the show really my aesthetic and comedy. Besides that, there isn't really a lot to it.
Yeah, I'd be willing to give the first season a try just because maybe it's possible that I need more context into what the show is like.
Maybe. It's weird that it just, like, starts with her summoning Jasmine, so it just makes me curious what the hell season 1 is.
Yeah, and see, that's why I didn't immediately catch that it was a second season.
When you meet the rest of the cast, they're, like, eating beef together at, like, a restaurant, and Medusa's there wearing a paper bag over her head so she doesn't turn anyone to stone. There's this random girl dressed up as a cow, and there's a demon under her who looks starved of food, and it's just like, I love it. I love these characters without knowing anything about them. I just need to see it. Oh, and there's this beautiful scene of when she gets sauce on her bag, so she gets it. So the staff replaces her bag, and she times her blink with that happening. I thought that was hilarious.
That sounds like it could be funny.
Oh.
Well, you've convinced me to try the first season at least.
Hey, it has a really low score on Mal, but, you know, most of these shows have really low scores on Mal that we thought were good. Like, Arte has a 7.6. I don't know how that even happens.
Yeah, see, that seems like a middling score.
If it's below an 8, that's pretty bad.
Bad,
but
we are talking about Mal.
Yeah, if it's below an 8, that means it's generally more niche.
Okay, that's fair.
If it's above an 8, it means it's really well liked. And if it's above a 9, then it's adored.
Yeah. I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't think either of us has that much to say about it. Bakugan Armored Alliance, turns out it's a second season. The first season hasn't even finished airing in Japan yet.
I had a real hard time finding episode 1 for this show because I kept getting into, like, the middle of the show.
Yeah.
And every time I watched shit, I found, like, oh, this is a season 2 to the original show, but that was, like, 2 years ago, but this is the first season in Japan.
No, it's not.
I don't know if I just...
It's not the first season in Japan. The first season is still airing in Japan.
Okay.
And then this has already started airing in Canada because it's, I guess, a Canadian production.
I will say seeing, like, a legit black guy in anime is always surprising when it actually happens.
Yeah. And as I recall in the original Bakugan, he was a well-liked character. So they probably brought him forward because of that.
For the little bit I spent with, because I didn't finish the show because I was really confused at which episode I was supposed to be watching. So I kind of like saw like 20 minutes of like 3 different episodes.
Really?
Because it's like the way it was put together was like it was like put together like a US cartoon where it was like 2 episodes for like one show.
Okay.
I don't know if that's how it is for the episode you watched.
I only made it about a minute and a half in.
Okay. It's weird, man.
Yeah.
I didn't really like it that much. The dub was fine, actually.
Yeah. I might try again with subs, just in case.
Maybe. I will say that the dub was not bad. It was very fitting.
Yeah. Well then, this next show I kind of liked. Motto Majime ni Fumajime Kaiketsu Zorori.
Or Zoro-sensei, if you're like me and you abbreviate all the names on your list.
Yeah. More. Yeah, on your list, or on the list that you gave me, the English translation is More Seriously Unserious Incredible Zorori. Which I like. I like that title.
I literally just copied and pasted from Live Chart. That's all I did.
That's 100% fair.
Yeah. You think I'm going to type this shit out? No.
Yeah. I'm not going to continue watching this, but it was cute.
I did not finish this episode. Because it's very obviously aimed at a very young audience.
Yeah. At the very beginning, I got, like, Dora the Explorer vibes.
Yeah, and when I was watching that, I was like... I as an elite otaku, felt I am far too smart for this child show.
Yeah.
But I really like the bright colors.
Yeah. My 2 notes are cute art style and seemed like a good kids show.
I mean, Zoro is inherently a cool, fun character.
Yeah.
Like, he's like Loop. It felt like Lupin the Third, but for kids.
That seems reasonable.
Yeah, like, he's not as racy as Lupin is, because Lupin does a lot of racy things from time to time, in the sense of, like, consistently trying to trick ways to get Fujiko to sleep with him, even though Fujiko is smarter than him.
Yeah.
Which is appreciated, like, on their relationship in a funny way, just on how they interact, is always great. I'm getting off topic. Zoro just, like, comes off as, like, smart, who has big plans, but is really dumb on executing those plans.
Yeah.
At least that's what I got out of episode 1.
Yeah, and this felt sort of like one of the episodes of Lupin where Lupin doesn't really do anything bad. He just goes on an adventure. And
he doesn't do anything wrong. Yeah, like, he bought an honest product to sell to a guy, honestly.
Yeah.
He just don't tell him what his purpose was, but, yeah.
Yeah.
His sidekicks are a little annoying to me.
Yeah.
They have the twin problem of they have no character besides the fact they're twins.
Yeah. They get a little bit more differentiation later in the episode, but...
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah. It's not much, but it's enough, I think.
To me, they just felt like we're the same character, in a sense.
Yeah. Well, it's like one of them is this real hard-working kid going around putting up posters and stuff, and then the other is scoping out a mansion that that Zorori wants to buy with the 10 billion yen he's gonna get.
That was when I stopped watching. Was right after he started looking at the castle, and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and so this kid, the other kid, turns out to be he's kind of lazy, and kind of dumb. Like, he gets to a refrigerator and he just starts eating and eating and eating.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well.
And then it cuts to after he has gone and taken a bath, and he's wearing this bathrobe, and that's when he gets caught in the mansion. He's drinking some kind of drink, probably milk or something.
I do appreciate that Zoro does care for those kids, and it is very apparent how much he does love them.
Yeah.
Like, he knew he shouldn't trust them with the pig thing.
Yeah.
But because they felt bad, he decided to give them a task so they felt useful.
Yeah. Speaking of the pig thing, Tutankhamen. I loved that pun there. It's great.
I just realized it wasn't.
Yeah. That was funny.
God, I love Japanese puns when I get them.
Yeah.
Japan does love their puns for some reason.
Yeah. They do.
Was the language inherently made with puns in mind?
Probably not. It's just that with the history of the language, a lot of puns emerged. Particularly written puns.
That's so weird to me.
Yeah, because of the
that
way...
a language... Yeah.
The way kanji can have different meanings depending on context and stuff.
That's really funny.
Yeah. But this
it's
show...
one of the reasons I kind of wish I did learn Japanese.
Yeah. Anyway, this show... I would be comfortable watching it with my kids if it were dubbed.
You have kids?
I don't.
Oh.
In the event that I ever have kids.
I feel like this is the kind of show I just like put on all 52 episodes, let my kids watch, while I go watch Lupin the Third in the other room yelling.
I probably wouldn't do that. This is I'm playing Animal Crossing while my kids are watching TV show.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it sounds like he is a better parent than I.
Maybe? I'm not sure.
I turned out fine. That's how my parents raised me.
That seems fair.
Next on the list is...
Yeah. My next life is a villainess. All routes lead to doom.
Oh, this was fun. This was really fun. I was scared when I saw the main girl be a brat the entire time. I was like, oh no, I don't want a tsundere brat for a protagonist.
Yeah, but then she gets her memories back, and...
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, this is cool now.
Yeah.
But if you notice, when I stopped messaging you right after, that was when I started having fun.
Yeah.
I was really scared for those first 2 minutes, for that first literal 60 seconds.
Yeah. It's definitely a really unique isekai setup.
Where the main guy is, or the main girl is a villain.
Yeah, or she's the
Quote,
villain from the from a game that she used to play when she was alive.
And I love they just admitted that she's an otaku, and unlike another show where not another show, or like other shows where she would just like, they just say and they don't do anything about it. When you go into her mind when she's making decisions, you literally see the otaku version of herself over planning.
Yeah. I like that her cheat ability is she knows this game inside and out, but now she has to do it from a completely different perspective.
And you can easily figure out what her character was like, or what her previous personality was like, when she wakes up for the first time, which is nice.
Yeah.
As like the exact opposite of the villain.
Yeah. And this idea feels like it must be any visual novel player's dream. Because
I would imagine.
she's getting to learn additional backstory for a major character. And then she's also getting to explore Katarina's possible routes. Knowing that she might not
also,
be able to fix them.
We also just learn how evil Katarina was in the original game.
Yeah.
Through her original things and how she, differs from that. And I still think I get that Fate's trying to force them to go back to the way they were, but I still think they wouldn't grow up the same way that she treats them, because it seems to Keith, her brother, the reason he goes into isolation is completely different reasoning, so I don't think he would become the same womanizer, the same kind of person after all that time.
Yeah, maybe, but you never know. She's
hard to say.
She
definitely broke that.
She
definitely broke that flag, though, in the end of the first episode, of course.
Yeah. My last note for this episode is Katarina solves the plot of Frozen before it even happens.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because that is exactly what Elsa was, just with ice instead of earth.
Also, the sequence for breaking down the door was very nice, as the light overflows him in the shadows.
Yeah.
I don't know if she genuinely cares about Keith or not, but she seems to really like him.
Yeah.
As a friend, in a sense.
Yeah, it seems... I liked the door breaking down because it starts from the inside and it's played like it's gonna be a good version of the slasher movie trope of the guy breaking in. And then
it is
turned into this big hopeful moment.
It was really nice. And then the comic relief of her mother screaming at her is hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see her as an adult. I really love her ambition to live.
Yeah. I really hope... Oh, on her ambition to live. I really like that not only is she trying to get to a point where she's not... where she doesn't get either of Katarina's bad endings, but also that she's trying to get skills in place so that she can deal with it if she gets the good bad ending.
Which is really smart on her part, because she's been, working on her magic, which we don't know where her magic is now after, I don't know how long she's had her memories for, but...
Yeah, well, we know that her magic is Earth, just like the little boy.
Yeah, but he was, extremely powerful. She still has to improve hers.
Yeah.
She's been working on her swordsmanship, which we know.
Yeah.
So, I'm really excited to see how she'll deal with the main protagonist when she meets her.
Yeah. Where I'm hoping it'll go is that she just tries to be friends with the heroine.
Based on the opening and Edie, it seems like she will.
Yeah. And it
seems like she'll succeed, too, based on the opening.
Yeah, and then the comedy will come from sort of the same place as a romantic comedy, just platonic instead of romantic.
It would be funny, which the show might do. Hard to say right now. What if she ends up dating the protagonist at the end?
That would be pretty good.
Of all the ways to end in a Tomei game, she goes gay.
Yeah.
Make her gay at the end.
That would
come out of left field and be really funny. I think that'd be the best ending of this show.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't want it to come out of left field.
Okay, well, obviously they build up to it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I would like it if she figures out, okay, this is the only way that I can get the best possible ending, or neither of the bad endings. So I'm just gonna go for it.
So kind of like my parents. Oh, what was the manga called? Kind of like I married my best friend to shut up my parents.
Maybe? I haven't heard of that.
Really good gay manga about this girl who ends up marrying her best friend because she doesn't want to date a guy because she's an independent woman. And then she falls, and her best friend's already gay, and she falls in love with her best friend
That sounds
while
familiar.
they're married. I'll send you a link to it. It's pretty good.
All right, I'm down for that.
It's part of that weird trend in LGBT manga where they have a pink cover and a pink aesthetic on the cover for some reason, and is really gay.
Yeah.
Weird trend I've noticed that I want to do a video on one day.
Yeah. I always like pink stuff, so I'm down for that.
Me too. My manga collection loves pink.
Yeah. The pinkest thing in my manga collection, just from looking over at it, is Volume 2 of the Shinji Ikari Detective Diary.
Ooh, send me a picture later.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm not familiar.
Okay. Anyway, we've derailed that pretty far.
As we do.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope what happens is she just tries to be friends with the heroine, and like I've said before, and then it turns into either a romantic comedy between them or a platonic comedy.
I think it's pretty obvious that the prince is evil.
I think so, yeah. I mean, she knows the game inside and out, so I'm going to trust her opinion on it.
I mean, he's had this evil smile like 3 times in the episode.
Yeah. And he gets and he gets a couple of times where he's clearly angry, and then he just barely manages to play it off as a laugh.
I do like that you can really tell how they're supposed to be Otome-based characters, because you have, like, the bad boy being the prince, who's engaged to an evil princess. Then you have, like, the bad boy who has, like, who's a dark past, in the sense that he, nearly killed his brothers.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm excited for the other 2 characters, to get them fleshed out. Because it's like, they start off that generic, and then they flesh them out because they have backstory time.
Yeah. Although I sort of interpreted Keith not as a bad boy, more as...
No, he would turn into a bad boy.
Oh, I don't remember what he turned into.
He turns into the playboy.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, because he's like, he shuts himself off so long that he just starts dating as many women as he wants until he falls in love with Protag Girl.
Yeah.
I think he will be the main love for Protag Girl, since he's, like, literally too sweet.
Yeah, that seems likely.
I love Keith. He's like, oh, I just want to protect him.
Yeah, he's a good character.
He's a good character. Yeah, he's a good boy.
Yeah. And I really hope that the intention of the scene where he locks himself up in his room was intentionally to parody Frozen. Because that would be hilarious.
I mean, I like how in the backstory of Katarina gets like an injury on her head, and then torments the prince is just like a little tiny X on her head that goes away immediately.
Yeah.
And more funny that a few days later the event with Keith happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's really funny that a lot of these major events just happen within a week of each other in the lore of the game.
Yeah. And like I said, this is probably this girl's dream of getting to play through almost a totally different game as a different character.
I mean, honestly, it's never occurred to me to do a narrative-based game from the perspective of another character. I kind of like a Dragon Age mod where you play through the game from Logain's perspective. That would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, just alternate perspectives in general. If it gives you more lore, that's always great.
I agree. And this is giving a lot of lore for the world.
Yeah. And this is also the only lore that we're getting as the audience.
Yes. I'm really excited to see where the show goes. Specifically when she starts attending school in the quote-unquote end game of the show.
Yep.
And we'll see who her love interest is, because there's no way the show's going to end without her falling in love with someone.
Yeah. And based on what the thumbnails of the next few episodes look like, It's looking like we're going to get 2 more episodes with her as a kid, and then the 4th episode is going to be the beginning of the main arc.
Is this only a 12-episode show?
I'm not sure. It feels like it could end up being a 12-episode show. I'd have to look into that.
Let me check, because they normally announce these things on Mal.
Yeah.
Yes, 12 episodes.
Okay.
That's fair. I mean, the thumbnail on Mal is her holding hands with the protagonist, so I'm rooting for that it'll end up in the gay route.
That would be... I definitely agree that would be a good ending.
Make it gay.
Yee.
Oh, there's a synonym for it instead of the English version, which I like a lot more because it's really long.
Oh?
Hamifura. I reincarnate to an Otome game as the Villainess with only destruction flags. Now that's a name.
Yeah. I agree.
That's much better. Obviously, it doesn't sound as good, but
yeah.
It's based off a light novel. That makes sense. No,
Yeah.
a novel.
No, just a regular novel?
Yeah, just a regular novel. It says on Mal. Novel.
How about that?
And that's rare. And it's still being published.
Wow.
That scares me.
Yeah.
God, her villain face is so perfect.
I agree.
Look at this. Oh, no. You'll see in the recording.
Yeah. I'll see it. Maybe I'll add it in somehow in post.
There it is. Oh, look at that. Look how beautiful that is.
Yeah.
She has such a perfect bitch face.
I love it too. I love it so much.
I'm not a fan of this kind of character normally, but God, whoever designed her really killed it on her being both a bitch face and a love face.
Yeah.
As in, like, friendly.
Absolutely.
God. That's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
On the character designs of the show.
Well, we've been going...
I mean, most of them are kind of generic, but yeah.
Yeah.
I just got off topic.
Oh, no, it's fine. We've gotten derailed a couple of times already by both of us. We're up to
what are you gonna do?
a little over 2 hours now, I think.
Well, we're at the end of the list right now.
Yeah, we've got 3 more shows. Okay. We've got 4 more shows.
Yeah. I don't think they're gonna take that long.
Yeah, well, I've got one that I've got a lot of notes on.
I have a lot on the next 2 and the last one.
Okay, that's good. So, Appare-Ranman. I don't have that many notes on this, so I'm just going to read out the first 3 notes.
Sure.
Steampunk Redline, featuring Steampunk Senku, with special guest, Just a Samurai.
When I saw the samurai, I got Loop on the Third vibes really hard. Because he's just... Oh, I forget the guy's name. They have a samurai friend, and he's like the least memorable character of the Loop. Thank you. Goemon's the least memorable of the cast. I'm sorry.
Maybe to you. I like him a lot.
I said that I don't like him. It's just like compared to Fujiko, Lupin, and Jigen.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Jigen and Fujiko are my guy, and Lupin's in the name of the show.
Yeah.
I have a Jigen figure and a Lupin figure, and I have 2 Fujiko figures somewhere in my room. They're actually all on my desk right now that I look at them. Wow, I got off topic really fast.
Yeah. Okay. Appare-Ranman.
This was a weird steampunk kind of well, not steampunk. It was like the show's about being a genius and not being appreciated for being a genius.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but I don't know about you, but I really like all the racers' designs.
Yeah, I love all the racers and I love all the car designs
They're
that I noticed.
they're just so. Oh yeah, all the car designs are really cool, and every character just has like so much color, and they're just like bursting with personality based off just that design alone. And just like, all right, I'm excited for this race. I didn't even know who I was rooting for. I was like, I'm in.
Yeah, and then it shows the OP, and it's all this action, and it flows perfectly into every other scene.
Oh yeah, it had what is it? Durarara aesthetics in that opening, in a sense.
Yeah.
I was just like really excited to see where it goes, and then they just like put us back in time to Appare. I don't know how to pronounce his name. His origin, and then just seeing this weird red guy with this really really autistic hairstyle. I don't know how else to describe it. Just like really wild.
Yeah. Well, see, to me, he immediately reminded me of Clover from the Zero Escape series.
I have not seen that.
Yeah. That's a visual novel.
I've not played that.
Yeah. They're good.
Or read it.
They're good.
He's just like, he's wearing red in a town that everyone's wearing blue, which is just an obvious sign of how, like a really obvious visualization that he is different from everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So he also has these weird red dots on his lips.
Yeah, I don't know if that's supposed to be makeup or just his face.
I think that's makeup.
Okay, I hope it's makeup.
I don't know what else it would be.
Yeah. I really loved the scene in the jail where he's...
That was hilarious. I did not... I thought he was going to get beaten up there. I thought it was going to be him, like, understanding the world. But no, it's just him outsmarting everyone. Just, like, breaking out of jail within 5 seconds. It was really funny.
And not even just outsmarting everyone. The guy says... He says, hey, could you move your foot? And the guy says, why don't you make me move it? And then he does.
Yeah,
he takes his hammer and bam.
Because apparently Japanese jails in the 1900s, they just didn't take your shit away.
Yeah. See, this is one of the really funny things that I noticed about this is the first time I've thought about the fact that the pop cultural versions of cowboys and samurai, the real life historical versions of those existed at the same time.
Oh my god, you're right. My history of Japanese and of Japan's history is just really was just thrown off in this episode.
Yeah,
because I don't know much.
Yeah, and it's
about
so weird
this
to
era.
think about, but it makes sense. It's the same time period, and so they're just going to be juxtaposed now.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I'm confused why the general, or not the general, the samurai lord gave Appare a overseer, in a sense, someone to watch over him, and then he just was planning on having him killed.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. I think that's either going to be explained in backstory later on.
I hope.
Yeah, or it's just going to be that's the reason why they're in America now.
I mean, it got him to America, and obviously this is a place where he's going to be respected, because on the boat, people were interested in what he had to say, which was the first time ever in his life.
Yeah, that scene was weirdly emotional for me, because I really liked how it's just him immediately nerding out over all the steam technology.
Yeah, as he's probably learning and probably teaching them about the things he learned.
Yeah, and he's probably showing them his notes and his blueprints and stuff. So
yeah,
either they're
comparing
learning from
contrasting.
him, or they're just interested in seeing this kid's interpretation of this technology that they have understood for years now.
Yeah. One thing that is really nice is that it starts with him just reading alone, and then more people come in as time goes on, really showing the idea that Japan focuses on tradition too much, and America accepts the idea of evolution, at least how it's portrayed in the show.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. Is like, yeah, Appare, you are a genius. You are
Yeah.
You fit in with these weird Americans, even though you don't look anything like them. You just stick out like a sore thumb everywhere you go.
Yeah. He really is Steampunk Senku.
He really is. And I like how you do see the designs for the ship he builds later on, or the car he builds later on in his workshop.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice attention to detail. His workshop looked cool. I like how like obsessed he is with his work.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that I like the way he has this emotional attachment to that book, Journey to the Moon, I think it was. And I think that's a Jules Verne book.
It is. I did see it on the book itself.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And then he explained why it was so captivating to him, and it makes a lot of sense. And I relate a lot to that.
I'm curious what the actions are that lead us to the race. I don't care how long it takes us to get to the race, but
yeah,
I'm curious how we get there. I'm really excited.
Yeah,
this was a fun show.
Yeah, this was fun.
Like, this show like obviously sets itself up for like everything that's gonna happen really well. Like, the introduction was a good way to get us excited for that big race that I'm excited to see, and all those wacky characters there. Just like, and we already have good wacky characters already. Like, Appare and the Samurai have a great gimmick already, comedy-wise.
Yeah, and they also seem like they just have good chemistry together.
Oh, they do. And I'm really excited to see how our samurai friend plays in a more expressional society.
Yeah.
I'm curious, because now he will be the fish out of water where Appare fits in for the first time, in a sense.
Yeah.
So, exciting.
Yeah,
very exciting.
I'm interested to see how they get over the language barrier.
I think they're probably just going to ignore it, because they kind of just did on the boat.
That's true. Or it's punky. The fact that the book that Appare read was in English makes me think maybe he just knows
he probably
English
speaks
from
English.
that. And so now he can translate.
I could imagine he is smart enough to translate, and obviously at some point, based on how the race goes, the samurai guy does learn.
Yeah, probably. And then they're just going to ignore the fact that everybody in America is speaking Japanese in the show.
I mean, that tends to be a thing in shows with this kind of situation.
Yeah.
Because it's just easier than to explain. We're spending, like, months learning a new language.
Yeah. Hopefully.
We'll see.
Yeah. I'm excited to continue this one.
I'm very excited. This was a cool show.
Absolutely. And up next, up next is the one that I am most apprehensive about, but also the most excited to talk about. Bungo and Alchemist, Gears of Judgment. I really enjoyed this one.
That doesn't surprise me. Of all the shows that I thought you would like, this one felt like it would be.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll continue this one, as we'll get over later on. Because this is like a weird... Because it's about Japanese authors fighting monsters.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that until I looked up all the books afterwards at the end of the episode to confirm that these were like real people. Because I wasn't familiar with any of the authors. I don't know Japanese literature.
Yeah, I've heard of Osamu Dazai before, but I needed to look him up to see. I was surprised to see that Run Milos was a real story that he wrote.
And an anime.
Yeah.
And an anime now. Like, there's a 1992, I think, movie on it, which is funny. So, this is very much made for a hardcore Japanese audience, at least for, like, people who are big literature fans who also like seeing people fight monsters.
Yeah. See, I got Kingdom Hearts vibes from this.
The opening, I could see that, because they had, like, these really cool glass panel openings in the opening.
Yeah. Well, not
moving
only
back
that,
and
but,
forth.
but also it's the idea of them going into the worlds of literature and trying
when I was
to
thinking
fix
Kingdom
things.
Hearts, I was thinking of the beginning of Kingdom Hearts where they like go to like those cool glass plane things at the beginning of each game.
Oh yeah, that too, kind of, but just the whole
I can see
setup
that.
is very Kingdom
Yeah.
Heartsy. And then you've got the Taint, which are this malicious revisionary faction of monsters.
Who are trying to change books, which is a cool gimmick.
They're trying to destroy the books by ruining the stories.
It's just like, if I knew the story of Run Melos, that would be really cool, you know?
Yeah.
Going into it. Like, that's why I don't think I can watch this show, because I just need to have, like, knowledge of Japanese literature that I don't have to fully appreciate it.
Yeah. That's possible.
I feel like this is the equivalent of, like, if it was Shakespeare.
Yeah. I'm down with this partially because I didn't know most of Disney when I first played Kingdom Hearts. And so not knowing the original story just doesn't really matter to me.
I can see that. I was for, like, full enjoyment. Like, this feels very passionately made in that sense.
Yeah. I loved how they just throw you into it at the very beginning.
No, I was thinking, like, are they time travelers? What's going on? What's with the...
Yeah.
I was really trying to piece together what was going on, because I definitely didn't read the backstory for this show.
Yeah, I just went right into it as well. Mm-hmm. And then by the time it gets to the end of the episode with the exposition dump, I was 100% down for it. Because I just wanted to know what was going on.
Yeah. Really cool concept. And I just don't see myself continuing it, though, because I just don't have that knowledge, so I'm just not that interested in it.
Yeah.
You know, if Shakespeare does not show up, I will be a little sad, I'll say. Though Shakespeare didn't write books, he wrote plays, so...
Yeah. But they were eventually compiled as books.
That's true.
They can probably do a lot of creative stuff with it.
I'd like to see this, but for, like, you know, Western authors. I think that'd be really cool. Like Edgar Allan Poe, Mary Shelley.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if this was like for people who I was familiar with, I'd be so happy.
Yeah. I wouldn't exclude them from it yet, but yeah,
that's true.
This is currently probably mostly going to be Japanese literature.
Probably.
And
I don't know. The concept of Ayn Rand and Mary Shelley appearing, fighting monsters together just makes me laugh.
That does sound amazing. Yes. This seems like it could either be really creative or turn into dumb schlock. But either way, I really hope this is good.
I want it to be good for the people who love this weird gimmick.
Yeah. See,
this shows like this is the reason I love anime, though.
Yeah, and I could see,
even though I don't fully appreciate it,
I
love it for this.
I could see this almost being like an effort to try to get otaku interested in classic Japanese lit.
It might be. Not a bad gimmick on Japan's end to get people into reading.
Yeah.
I've heard of worse.
Yep.
This is the most anime concept ever, though.
It absolutely is. It goes way meta. It's very shonen. I like immediately I was down for the other guy who was in the story as himself.
When he called himself an author, I was like, is this the guy who wrote the book?
Yeah.
I thought, what a fucking Chad, coming into his own book, making sure his protagonist wins, and then he realized, no, the protagonist is the author.
Yeah, I loved that. I also just loved the other author guy's attitude through the whole thing. Like, he's just there to make sure the protagonist gets things right.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
The lore of the author forgetting themselves when they enter the book, and then we learn something about the author at the end. That was cool.
Yeah.
The show has a lot going for it.
Definitely.
It really does. Keep me up to date on how you enjoy it. I don't think I'll be continuing it still.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna continue this at the end of the season when it's finished.
Yeah. Because if it is still good, I would love to. I will go back and watch it if you tell me it's worth watching.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
And then we've got the stinker for me.
I don't blame you. This is
Argonavis from Bang Dream. I don't know what Bang Dream is. I think I've
It's
heard
a
of
musical. It's a series. Like, because I know this is not a sequel, but it's like a spin-off of Bang Dream.
Yeah.
Generally, they're like music like shows about boy bands.
Yeah. I haven't.
I made 2 minutes into this episode before I dropped it. I'm not gonna lie. The CG animation really hurt my soul, Key.
I don't blame you at all.
It reminded me of my first year animating back in high school.
Yeah.
And I think I did a better job there than they did here. I feel bad for saying something that harsh about anime, but God, it's just so... The animation on everything is so rough.
Yeah, it doesn't even look rough all the time. It just looks stiff to me.
Well, yeah, rough isn't stiff in a sense. It's just like, it's... Obviously what they did is they sync the animation so it does the smooth movement like you do when you're doing in 3D, but then they cut out every other frame, so it's just skipping.
Yeah.
And the skipping is so consistent, it ruins the entire illusion.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to do the frame skipping like they do in Dragon Ball Z Fighters, and Dragon Ball Fighter Z,
Yeah.
they don't skip every other frame. They skip like every third or every fourth frame, sometimes every other frame, but it's there's not a pattern to it. It's whenever they feel like it's most necessary. Tom Oliver does this really well too, in his animations. Same with Guilty Gear. So it can be done really well. This show just doesn't, and I don't know why. The textures at times look really bad, especially when it comes to shading, because they use a gradient of hashing on it.
I'll be honest,
it doesn't look good.
I didn't even notice textures. I just thought they were solid colors on parts of the model.
Well, they are, in a sense. That is kind of the way you get the anime aesthetic when it comes to texturing.
That's true. I just thought they had colored a group of polygons like they used to do on PS1 games.
Probably. I'm not sure. I haven't done a lot of toon shading. I know it's mainly on the render side rather than the texture side. The funny thing about the models is that they look really good when they're not moving.
Yeah.
Which is an awful thing to say about a 3D model.
I bet. I'll be honest, I thought there were a couple of crowd scenes that looked pretty good. But that's probably because they were crowd scenes, and they had a lot of post-production on them. When
I saw the first crowd shot, I was cringing. Well, actually, it wasn't. The first shot is of the state of like these stage lights, in a sense, and it zooms out of them.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
And I saw that CG, and I was already cringing. And then I saw the crowd, and I was cringing harder. And then I killed myself. And after I revived myself from paying the good man, I continued hating myself. And then I saw the main character was 2D and a sea of CG characters, and that looked awful.
Yeah.
And then the band started playing, and I saw such stiff, non-lifelike movements in the animation. And I thought myself back to Persona 5 Royal. Don't worry, this relates. About the beautiful animation of Ann's movement as she runs to see her friend who has just attempted suicide. It's in the first part of the game. I don't care. You've had enough time to try it if you haven't played the game now, you fucker. And I just remember the beautiful fluidity of that movement. And I think back to this scene. And I ask myself, how did we get here? Why am I here?
Yeah. It feels
Why has God forsaken me?
It feels like this would have been better if they had just made a bunch of canned animations and then played those back.
Yeah. After that, I dropped the show.
I don't blame you. I do have 2 other notes because
Sure.
I was able to finish this episode.
How?
I don't know.
Key.
But
I don't know if I have less tolerance than you, or you are a stronger man than I am. Who knows?
Yeah. I'm guessing that you just know this better, and so you were less able to tolerate it.
I do make models and textures, so it hurts when I see animation that bad.
Yeah. Okay, I have 2 other notes.
Sure.
One of them is that I haven't seen Given. It was like a... I guess the best way to describe it is Gay Dudes K-On!
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
Because I like girls more than guys.
Yeah. Anyway,
I am very gay.
Yeah. I haven't seen this. Or I haven't seen Given, but...
Mm-hmm.
This is clearly trying to be Given. So...
I mean, I assumed it was going to be about, like, gay guys.
Yeah.
Because boy bands generally tend to be gay in anime.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's going exactly in that direction. I just know it's a boy band anime. That's probably where it's going. Or it's clearly trying to cop the popularity of the other recent kind of popular boy band anime.
It feels like that.
Yeah. And then my other note is just, it's really funny how the song that inspired the main character guy to try to be a singer is a Sentai opening.
Is it? I don't remember the song, honestly. I was too focused on the animation.
Yeah, well, there's a scene in karaoke where there's a scene where he's at a karaoke place alone, and he's singing this song, and it's a Sentai OP. You can tell from the album art.
If they're not singing death metal at a karaoke station, you're doing it wrong.
And we're back.
Hooray.
Yeah. It won't seem like we've been gone, but we have been.
Yes. And
so anyway, our last show... I don't know if I like this one.
Tamaka Bond Combination Earth Granner!
Yeah! Evil fidget spinners from space.
Evil fidget spinners from space who are alien delinquents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do the mambo to reverse the Earth's rotation.
I recorded that, so now I have that on my drive somewhere, because I thought that was the greatest sequence I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know when, but I feel like I could use this for a meme video somewhere, sometime in the future.
Let's hope so.
I'm sure. It'll probably be a Nate meme video, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
Honestly, seeing the animals, like, after they do the mambo, start to walk backwards was the funniest shit I've seen this season.
It was.
Of all the shows. That was the height of comedy.
I really hope that what they did there was just animate them running forwards and then reverse them.
They might have. That probably would have been easier. Like,
Yeah.
so this show's just Gao Gaigar.
Is it?
Almost exactly. I mean, there's a few differences story-wise, but it's pretty much Gao Gaigar. Like, the gimmick of Gao Gaigar is that the party, the group of heroes, the group of Braves are fighting evil aliens from space who send out a different monster of the week. Because they want to steal the Earth's energy. Just like the
Okay.
In this case, instead of just being one main character, there's two, which there was in Gao Gaigar, the two twins, who were both red and blue. The red was the melee guy, and the blue was the range guy, just like in this show.
Yeah.
Except in that show, they could fuse into one big robot, which I'm expecting them to do later on, honestly.
Yeah. It seems like that's what's going to happen in the next episode, maybe.
Probably.
Or at least one of them is gonna fuse with the third guy in the cheetah thing.
Maybe. I do like that there's a secret government base underneath the zoo.
Yeah, that's funny.
I don't need an explanation beyond
like
that.
how
Just keep that. Just keep that as it is.
Yeah. I like how these two literal children are just allowed in the animal exhibits.
Just like in Gao Gaigar.
Yeah.
There's a kid in Gao Gaigar who kind of like solves the main issue of like the transformation monsters, because the monsters in Gao Gaigar are people turned into robots that represent their inner desires and needs. See, Gao Gaigar's a masterpiece.
I bet. The narrator in this show is hilarious.
He's Guy from Gao Gaigar. I hate to keep going back to this, but it's Gao Gaigar. This show is Gao Gaigar.
I bet. The more you compare it, the more I'm inclined to agree and just go watch Gao Gaigar.
Well, Gao Gaigar has its own issues, but
Yeah. See, the moment I knew that the narrator was hilarious is when Raiga said, "Oh no, I might wet myself," and the narrator just goes, "No, Raiga, now's not the time for that."
Okay, here's my fan theory. So Guy in Gao Gaigar is a cyborg, right?
I've never seen Gao Gaigar,
okay, well,
so I don't know.
His backstory is that he gets there's an explosion in space and becomes part robot, part machine, and he fuses with the giant robot in the show later on to become a giant robot. My conspiracy theory is that this is post-timeline in the Brave universe where Guy has fused with a car permanently, and that is how we got here. This is my conspiracy theory. I have not finished Gao Gaigar, but I'm convinced until proven otherwise that this is canon, and I will accept no other explanation about why, and not just the fact that it's a coincidence that it's the same voice actor.
Yeah. That'll be funny. That will be funny.
I'm looking over my my notes for this show, and I don't have a lot. It's alien delinquents, fidget spinners, Gao Gaigar in all caps. There's I like how when they become their Power Ranger forms, because it's literally just Power Rangers.
Well, did you notice when they morphed into the Sentai suits? One of the big things that happens in the morphing is that they get seatbelts.
I did not catch that, actually, no.
Yeah, if you look...
That's fun.
You don't even have to look closely. They just get this thing that attaches to them that clearly looks like a seatbelt.
I was more laughing that they had, a car that was, part of, their power band arm thing.
Yeah, and this is a... Tomeka is a toy car brand, so it makes sense that this
that explains way too much.
Their thing.
That explains the toy car. Okay, I was gonna question that in this episode. That made sense. I really liked that. They had wheels in their clothing.
Yeah, I noticed.
I don't know why, but they just have wheels on their clothing for some reason.
Yeah, That was funny.
Yeah, and then when the car transforms, because it's the Transformer mixed mecha. I mean, well, Transformers aren't mechas, but a Transformer mixed super robot sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's just... I didn't know what I was watching.
I guarantee this is going to be every single 12-year-old's favorite show.
This is my favorite show. Go away, Legends of Galactic Heroes and Kill la Kill. Hello. Earth Granner. I don't love it that much, obviously, but I mean...
Yeah. I'm not going to continue with this, but I'm really happy that it exists.
I'm going to watch 5 more episodes, because after that it's probably going to get old, like Gao Gaigar.
I can't wait for this to somehow end up on Cartoon Network and see what they do with it. I want the Eagle Kid named Kuga in this version to be renamed Egan.
Oh, I mean, they do make a pun based on their names and how eagles and lions are named, so...
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, that's funny. I will watch 5 more episodes of the show, and then I'll probably drop it, realistically. Why are they fidget spinners? Why do the villains powered fidget spinners?
This is probably a boomer's idea of what Zoomers want to see in cartoons.
I don't know. This is pretty accurate to what the Brave series is, actually. Like, if this was made in the 90s, this would be a Brave show. Like, Gao Gaigar's pacing is just like this. Except instead, just imagine the little boy is also a fairy.
Right.
And instead of, like... And you know the yellow-haired guy that we saw who was, like, saying mecha all the time? Yeah. That guy's like a Chad who can run faster than a bullet train. and then you have everything the Gao Gaigar is. That's the only thing we're missing.
Right.
Summary, this show's Gao Gaigar.
Okay, maybe I should go watch that.
I've been told the OVA series is amazing, but I have to watch the rest of the show. I haven't finished Gao Gaigar.
That's fair.
Yeah, after I watched the show, I just watched the opening of Gao Gaigar like 5 times in a row.
Well, all right then.
To you, audience, go watch Gao Gaigar, and then maybe Granner, I guess. I don't know.
We'll have to see. Let me know if it gets actually good.
Probably not. It's a children's super robot. They're inherently bad. Super robot shows are only good if the main character hates life and hates people.
That seems accurate.
Or is Kamina. Those are the 2 only good protagonists you can have in a super robot show.
But Kamina wasn't the protagonist.
Shit. They're either Kamina, Simone, or they hate life and they want to exterminate all human beings. Those are the only protagonists you can have in a super robot show. That is all of them.
That's fair.
You can't prove me otherwise. Domon is Simone. Basara is Kamina, but a pacifist. How does that work?
I think we should probably wrap up.
Probably.
Now.
I'm getting onto
We're coming up on 3 hours.
I'm getting to a mecha.
And this is going to be a whole video.
This is only half the anime too.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching this video if you did.
Yeah. If you made it this far,
good job.
Congratulations. You don't win anything, but
I'll hug you if you ever come up to me. Okay, actually that's bad. We're in the coronavirus. I mean, we're in a situation.
Because of the situation, we can't hug you, but
I'll give you an internet hug.
Yes. I'll wave at you from a safe distance of 6 feet.
I'll internet hug you from 6 feet away.
Yes. And hopefully, content does not hopeful bleh. Hopefully Content sees this and invites us on their actual good show.
I doubt that. Maybe.
Yeah, they probably won't.
Nah.
But remember, the whole point of this is just that it will be really funny if something like this is successful, just being an off-brand version of something that's already an off-brand version of the things that the people who made it do.
Get fucked, Content. We're coming for you.
Yeah.
We'll kill you.
We're not gonna kill you, but we'll usurp your empire.
Yeah. Take that, Digi. We're coming for your patrons.
Yeah, we're coming for your patrons, Digibro and Best Guy Ever.
Wait, but I'm a patron of Best Guy Ever. How does that work? Am I coming for myself?
You'll become a patron of yourself.
God damn.
And with that, I think that's a good place to end the episode.
I agree.